What is up, everybody? How about that PogChamp, though? Anyway, so yeah, early stream because my ISP is coming out later tonight, and they're gonna have to like murder my internet for quite a while to try to fix it. Cause yeah, I've been having endless problems. So they've come out so many times though to quote unquote fix it, and they never have. So we'll see how it goes. But in the meantime, we'll see how it does. It's doing okay right now, so hopefully it lasts. Anyway, we barely got to do this event yesterday, so do a bit of catch-up here. We have to do missions, though, to progress the story right now, which is kind of boring, but, welcome to mission-based events. I will say, Saber Wars was a nice, steady stream of, you know, always having new stuff to do, so hopefully this event does that, though so far, not so good. There hasn't really been any interesting side bosses or anything so far. I wonder if Benkei can solo this. It's only a level 50 node, but Benkei fucking sucks. Like, his buff does nothing in most settings, right? And it won't do anything here. I kind of want to try anyway, though. Hold on, I gotta let my main account then slot Benkei. I really don't think it's gonna work, though. I'm gonna give him the one CE that I don't ever say the name of anymore, because everything's bullshit, but, I think that's the best bet here. It's either that or I give him debuff success chance so we always stun. But I think we have to just hope he stuns anyway. Like, just hope for the best. The funny thing is, lore-wise, Benkei is really strong. He's not like the strongest thing ever, and there's definitely some like gaps in his kit, but he's got some really powerful abilities, and his MP is really something. Which is sad because they cut his MP from the anime, because I don't even. Alright, let me, I'm blasting the final wave in a node on my main account, and then I can slot Benkei. See, if TF was here, we would use his Grailed one. I think that wouldn't be a problem. I might go with the Shinji thing, just because guaranteed stun is awesome, but RNG though, yeah, we'll go with the other one. All right. I like how my level 25 Benkei has his first skill at rank 10 because it's necessary for like some taunt wall shenanigans, but my level 65 Benkei has it at like rank 5 or something because his mats are terrible and I don't want to use them. Well, we can show off his animation update at least. Hey, Mercury, thank you for this sub, dude. 18 months. Oh, he's an event servant. This will be nothing. Never mind. Actually, a joke battle. I forgot that he was an event servant. 50%. Yeah, I think he got that. That is so pointless though, like Benkei being an event servant, unless you've got a Grailed one, and let's say you're doing the challenge quest, right? Because being a bonus servant for farming doesn't matter too much, but for like a challenge quest, it can help a lot. But Benkei does so little damage and everything, you're not going to use him for that anyway, so it doesn't help too much. Unless their event has like, you know, some normal card, because some boss fights are actually very normal card based, because they're like way to do gimmicks and you need lots of like low to medium damage. Then I guess you could be alright. Alright, let's see here. Wait, hold on, I just moved my sound. There we go, now I can hear again. Okay. I'm kind of glad they don't affect bonus drops anymore, though, because that could really, like, force people into some teams they didn't want. Gotta say, that extra attack is pretty nice. Oh, I ripped out, boy, I ripped out part of my earbuds cord on, how did I do that? So I can only hear out of one ear now. I was like, how did, it's like, I like super ripped it. Oops! Time to get some new earbuds. Don't know my own strength, apparently. Dude, this art animation on Benkei makes his arm move in unnatural ways. I think it's quick too, actually. Here, I think it's this one that's got some of the fucked up. Yeah, what the hell, dude? They should have reanimated his arm for that one. Holy crap. Like, they reanimated his hand, but they did not reanimate his arm, and so that didn't look right at all. Hey, Beastly. Let me show that again. That is a mess, dude. It's weird that they actually did bother to reanimate his arm. Why did I cast that? I mean, reanimate his hand, but not his arm, excuse me. I don't know why I just cast that. That was pointless. Yep, that's pretty bad. Other than that, though, it's alright. There's a few other poses that are a little messed up. Yeah, I wasted his defense buff there. I don't think we're gonna need it, though. I wish I had my MP. $28K, I can kill that. I couldn't if I wasn't a bonus servant, though. Not really making up for yesterday. I'm just, my internet's gonna be turned off later today as we work on it, so it's been now or never. Okay, I didn't kill him. Well, watch us lose this fucking stage even though we're a bonus servant. Although, in my defense, I was showing off animations for a bit there, so I put us a little bit behind. Oh god, I didn't do Benkei's buff quest. Although, let's be real, it wouldn't matter, because curse damage is nothing, and they have no buffs for me to remove anyway. But yeah, I just realized I didn't do Benkei's buff quest yet on this, my main account. Well... guess I kill the Berserkers first? I really can't decide at what time of day I want to stream because it's always good and bad for somebody, right? Also, he didn't land the stun, 80%, so good, am I right? Now we just gave her another action per turn, I think. Actually, no, we gave the golem in the back another action per turn. Oh, if only I had not wasted my second skill. Might be able to live another turn. Alright, I need to kill this thing and make stars, and then crit next turn with the attack up. That's like my only chance here. Benkei, please. So if I had not wasted my defense up, or if Benkei had actually stunned her, I think we would have won. Never mind, Drake is a dum-dum, and gave us our MP again. Just stun, forehead. I need to set his MP to be in slow-mo. I think it's worth it. You don't use him often at all, and when you do, it's for challenge quests. And his MP is just fucking awesome now, so... I got Achilles spooked off a yellow ticket last night. Awesome. Okay, my crit chance kind of sucks now, but we still gotta do the thing. Okay, now we might live a turn here. Drake, would you like to give me my NP again? Oh wait, we win next turn. No, no, no! Benkei's really good, guys. Yeah, he's really good. Great servant. I'm just gonna CS that for the loot. Jesus, dude. Lancer died. Yeah, he did. How did that happen? I feel like if I played a little bit better, we would have been alright. Also, I like how our NP just did nothing. Our NP just did nothing. Literally nothing happened. Dude, she almost killed Benkei again. Can you, I should have taunted, but I thought we were, I was like, surely we'll be fine here. Oh my god, will you stop? What the fuck? What is Drake's magic resist? She has guarded so much stuff. It's D. It's fucking D. I don't, like, what? Cause like if I failed to kill her here and then she quick charged, we lose, right? So that's why I was trying to NP seal her so that couldn't happen. Okay. That was awful. Let's not do that again. We could show off the new Ushi if somebody in chat has her. That's something we haven't really done yet. I doubt it. I've only seen her animations as a boss, so I'm sure she's got a few new ones that she just didn't use as a boss. Let's see if anybody's got her. Yeah, I know gameplay-wise she's pretty busted. I saw her toolkit. The thing that kind of keeps her from being all that busted, though, is just the fact that, first of all, it takes some setup, and a lot of times you probably could already won before that setup is activated, and then second, she's an Avenger, and so she's not counterclassing anything, and so generally, because, okay, let me put it to you this way. Yeah, Ushi's pretty good, but there's someone that's really good in every class, and you could be counterclassing. It's kind of like Orion. Right, or if you're fighting a Saber, Orion is so much more damage than her. And he's also way tankier than she is because he's actually counterclassing, right? So now obviously against rulers and berserkers, she's going to be, you know, fucking disgusting. But yeah, it's like whenever you're fighting a Lancer, generally there's going to be a broken Saber out there that's better. Because there's someone that's busted in every class, right? And then they're actually going to be counterclassing, which is such a big deal. Now, right now, she's an event. And this always happens when a new character comes out. People forget that they're an event. Like, she gets... Right now, she's doing counterclass damage. Because she has 100% bonus damage against everything, right? So... Alright, I guess we need to do this stage a few times to do the mission. I think it's the... You have to kill, like, sky enemies, which I think the golems are, and Drake might be. I don't know. I mean, she'd probably be worse as a ruler. Like, if she's got to be something, Avenger for an extra class is pretty good, because it's, like, slightly better at neutral than everyone else. Let's see. This stage isn't really hard enough to actually get her whole shtick going, I don't think. That voice acting, though. That's pretty cool. Honestly, though, I think Benkei's extra attack is cooler than hers. They're kind of similar, but I straight up think Benkei's looks cooler. And they did not kill our boy. Okay, well. But there are a lot of setups where the amount of damage you're getting from your supports is so great, it doesn't matter if you're counterclassing or not. And you also might be winning so fast that the enemy's damage output doesn't really matter either. So a lot of times your class is kind of irrelevant in those situations, but most players aren't going to be in those kind of scenarios. I have not seen her third stage. I didn't know she had different animations there, so I mean I know what it looks like, but I don't know what her animations are, so I'll have to check that. Is there any world where I can actually get them to pop my guts? Not anytime soon. Need Qingong, I suppose. That would be a good way to do that. Guess I go and cast this. Yeah, seriously though, I like regular Ushi more than Avenger Ushi. Wasting the curse damage, I know, right? You kill both berserkers? Nah, they don't have too many actions per turn. She should be really good in solos, just because she's got a lot of survivability and perfectly good damage, so she should be totally fine for soloing. You know, if you're fighting a really hard content, right? Because a lot of times we like to play neutral, and she's always a neutral, so it's kind of, you know, her home turf, if you will, right? But if you are fighting like a really hard challenge quest or something and you need to be counterclassing, that's definitely going to be a problem for her. But of course, there's times you're fighting rulers and berserkers, and then she's way better than the other classes, so and she's definitely going to have uses easily. Her MP is pretty cool. Now, she's very good. She's very, very good. It's just, the way Avenger is weird, right? It's like, now sometimes there's just, you're fighting many different classes, and some people on your team are just going to have to be a neutral, right? And then she'll do really well there. Sometimes her first skill will get its niche, and then she's essentially counterclassing anyway. So there's definitely uses for her, but I think people have, you know, as always, when a new thing comes out, people will kind of contrive their best case scenario and also event bonus, and then people act like, oh my god, this thing is so broken. But this isn't any more broken than like what we already have in every other class, and again, those things can properly counterclass, so. But I know the short guts cooldown is crazy. That's why she's gonna be really good solo. She'll be able to live just so fucking long. And hell, if you can get the command code set up right, you might, it depends on the circumstance, but you might be able to get her to live forever. Especially against a ruler. Like, if it's not against a ruler, that might not happen, but... We're a message maniac. Let's see if we can get him to put stage 3 up. Alright, message sent. Yeah, kind of a shame I can't really use my skills here. There's no killing us here. Damage though. See if she's got a different range buster. She should. Oh yeah, Atlas would be really good on her, especially in a solo, like it's easy. So how many masks does she have on her? Because she cuts it every time. Hey, Looking Glass, thank you for the bits. A lot, yeah. But see, like without, even with her little gimmick up, if she wasn't an event servant, that's gonna be pretty behind a servant counterclassing. So she's still gonna have the survivability and stuff, so. The nice thing is she's good enough that you could use her at neutral and it'll still be fine. Might not be like the meta thing, but it'd be totally fine. And because she's an Avenger, she can be used against any class, really. So if she's one of your favorite characters, you could use her in almost every challenge quest ever, right? Like, you could fight so many bosses with her. You could fight Gwen, you know, whatever, if you were playing through the game with her. Almost every boss you could make work with her. Which is a lot of boom for your buck in terms of where you put your XP and stuff, so... Honestly, for a new account, I think she'd be super helpful. Level up one unit, max out one unit, and she'll be helpful in almost every single target situation ever. And then when you are fighting berserkers and rulers, it'll just be completely disgusting. Because like Super Orion, for example, or Gilgamesh or Ishtar oftentimes would be better against the Saber, but not by that much. And then, well, a good bit for the survivability side of things, depending on the way the fight is. But anyway, they're not going to be like blowing out of the water completely, right? She can keep up. But then they're obviously not going to be as good against every other class. So, a lot of boom for your buck there. Well, I'm trying to think. If we wanted to test her solo out, we could fight the dragon. What else could we, what's something that could really push her on a solo that we actually have available? Let me think. There's Kiara. Kiara is actually not too bad for testing. It's not like the best ever, but it's decent. Unless, I don't remember, do Avengers get some kind of bonus against Kiara? I can't remember. Nah, Lancer Tori wouldn't be that hard. He just doesn't have that much health. Dante'd be okay. That's not that hard though. I mean, here's an example of why Dante's not really that hard. Like, he's hard for people that aren't like actual solo units. But Gwen is neutral and AoE, and he beats it, right? And so that's very unapplicable on that stage. Like, basically every halfway decent solo unit can beat Dante. You can't do Tesla or Tristan, because that one you can't use support. I don't care what other people do. Jesus. Siegfried, nah, she's not a dragon, so that wouldn't be very hard. And Tesla would be okay. It's just not like all the wanted quests are not that hard, right? They're hard enough to, you know, be a little bit of something, but I want something like that would actually really test it. Let me think. What other bosses do I have? Let's see. On NA, we've got Abigail. That'd be good, but we don't have that over here. We've got Limbo, but that's not that hard. What else do we got? Let me think. We've got Kiara. That's decent. We've got King Potato Chips, but that's super not applicable to her. That's just silly. Oh the hell, if she could live that long, that'd be fun to try. I might do that in a minute, actually. Uriel and Asterios would be okay. It's not that hard though. We really need something like, you know, really good. Yeah, we do have the dragon. That's not too bad. That's not like, you know, his damage output's not that high though, but you can at least see like numbers in that one. Yeah, we have Limbo, but I mean, almost everyone can solo Limbo if you just play well. Like fucking Scath at level 90 in P2 without her third skill can do it, for God's sakes. You know, not Virgil can do it. That's no test. That's not much of a benchmark of anything. I can't think of a lot that's really gonna be a good benchmark for an Avenger, especially because she's a proper, like, she is clearly gonna be a good solo unit because she has so much survival. So this is like where you'd be looking to test someone like Ku or Sitting Master or Fujino, Orion, those kinds of things, right? None of these things would even come close to pushing those units. No, I mean, people do not understand how the Limbo fight works. Like, that it would be nothing. Like, that would literally be nothing. His damage output is so low, he would never fucking kill her. As long as you don't get debuffed and you can stop the debuffs with the Canaan Code and the Mystic Code, there's no way you would lose there. Yeah, story replay would really help. Lobo, there we go. Finally, that's a good call right there. I have to switch to my ult account though, which will take fucking forever, but I'm gonna do it. Yeah, that Lobo is pretty good. Again, it's not the hardest thing ever, but it's hard enough. That's much harder than the wanted quests. Like, very, very much so. Alright, hold up. Gotta... Let's see, how do I stream my ult account? I think I use, Flow. Oh god, that means we're gonna have like the fucked up screen size because of the... I can't put enough air quotes around this, but the awesome widescreen update. It's the whole reason why I use Dex, is so I can get around that. But for reasons I do not understand, Samsung Dex does not work with my ult account. And they've updated Dex a few times, and they still haven't fixed it, so... It's because it doesn't work with Secure Folder, which is weird, because Secure Folder is an app that is made by the same company that makes Samsung Dex, so I don't really get the problem. And what is truly bizarre to me is if you use Samsung Dex and use Secure Folder, basically every other app will work with Dex properly, except for FGO. So I don't know what's going on there. Does not seem to want to pick up my phone right now. Windows 10 sounds. There we go. Alright, I think I got it. Man, I haven't used Flow though in quite some time. Alrighty. Now I have to do the whole screen resizing again. Man, we haven't had to do that in ages. God, and now the screen is just way too wide and there's no way to make it fit. Good times, good times. Let's see. I'll have to cut off some of the screen, but that's pretty good. Guess I did a farming stage or something? Hopefully I have Maniac on this account. I need to see her stage 3. That NP sounds funny. Which design do they use? Do they use a third design that's not on the card art, or is it just one of the other stages' masks? Wait, couldn't I just NP there? What am I doing? Whatever. First stage. At least they show the mask appearing. I really want to see that. Makes it sound like even more ridiculous. Now there's just no reason to NP. At this point I should have just bought the 3 Berserkers. Well, Phantom's dead. I don't know if this account is going to finish this event or not. I might be... How do I put it? I might be full on time with the other 2 accounts, so we'll see. Yeah, I agree, Bonnie. It needs to be 500, 500, or even 400, 400 for God's sakes. And yeah, that doesn't really help Herc that much. It does help him, but not, at this point, with Herc's buff, it doesn't even matter. Asteroid Warrior didn't do a damn thing there. Yeah, I love that NP too. I'm pretty sure I just summoned her because she had the ball in CE. I didn't even like make a team for that. Okay. Go fight Lobo. Did I save a fight from Salem? I think we have Sitting Master, but you can't summon a support for that one, so we couldn't test her there. Alright, let's see if we have Maniac on our ult. If we don't, we're gonna have to... Oh, there we go. Easy peasy. Alright, we got command codes. They're not tailored to this fight, but that's probably for the best for testing anyway. Definitely Atlas, I think. Alright. I'm looking forward to this. So we need to cast our guts at like the right time. Lobo's damage output is pretty high. Oh, nice! She does get a niche here. That's right, she has insta-kill resist, and Lobo has insta-kill, so that's kind of a nice niche here. Please remind me to zeet the app, by the way. We don't want to lose this stage. Because it is actually really good for testing. Although when you beat it, you get another stage with him right after, which is debatably harder. It kind of depends. Let's see. So her guts lasts 3 turns, so I have to be... I think I probably cast it next turn. Well, no. Depends on if he crits us or not. Might wait a little bit. Maybe block the first NP with it. So 3 turns on our evade. I think I cast that next turn just to be safe. Oh yeah, she removes buffs before damage. That really is nice. I'm telling you, she is very good. There's no way around it. It's just the lack of counterclassing makes her unoptimal for some things, but still, like I said, if you were a new account or whatever, she would just be so good for so many fights. And because she is an Avenger, she works against every class. Like, the buff removal thing would just be so noticeable. Could have done the Arcane, but I figured I'd go with the average RNG here. Okay, definitely evade now. Please give me cards so I don't waste the curse. Well, something. Oh, look, we got curse and burn! Aren't we good? Okay, so we remove his evade. That's pretty awesome. Kind of like having sure hit. If we want to use our first skill next turn. Guys, remember when Avenger Ushi had Excalibur? Remember that? The wiki has servants listed by release. If you go to the wiki and look at class, they're listed in order of release. Guts may not actually go off. I think I may have cast it 1 turn too soon. That's kind of tricky. Just voice acting though. He's got a couple of buffs, guys. I am really glad she removes buffs. Holy shit. Doesn't her gut stack? I think it does. Fuck, it only stacks with other guts. Oh my god, it only stacks with other guts. It doesn't stack with itself. Why does it? That's so stupid! It stacks with every guts except itself. Okay, we just threw. Let's, That's awfully specific right there. Should bring Leonidas? Yeah, we should bring Leonidas. We don't want the crit down anyway. We don't need no help. Yeah, I don't think Harbansi is any good. Other Gutsies are better. Yeah, it is stackable with other guts. It's just not stackable with itself. So if you had guts from, you know, Hohenheim or from the Lifeguard CE or whatever the fuck it's called, you know, the Nerofest ones or Killfest ones, it would work. Oh, Maniac switched to stage 3 so we can see those animations now. We'll do slow-mo real quick so we can see them. That's pretty cool. Huh, completely different animations it seems. Honestly, if I had her, I would probably just click random for her because there's cool things and stupid things about all 3 of her ascensions, and you know, having the 2 animation sets would be cool, so I'd probably just put her on random. So is she more regular Ushi in stage 3, or is she just being possessed or whatever in all 3 stages? A lot of clone stuff, that's kinda cool. I wanna see the Buster. She's definitely doing, like, the clone shenanigans. Yeah, I'm hoping stage 3 is just regular Ushi, because I really don't like what they did with Avenger Ushi with the whole, body jack thing. Do I guts here? Last 3 turns. Yeah, I think we do it. We first skill next turn because we don't have enough stars here. Yeah, from what I've seen, none of them are like pure normal Uchi, but I'm hoping she becomes more normal Uchi by the end, but I don't know. Yeah, it's funny, the mask disappears. That's so silly, dude. I actually like that because it's so dumb, though. I kind of enjoy stuff like that. Like, I'd find it just be dumb if it just appeared, like, popped in, because then it's, like, glitchy. But, you know, they actually have it, like, appear canonically, right? It's, like, actually supposed to show up. And then it just gets yeeted anyways. So silly. Lobo, what are you doing here, champ? Few buffs there. Dude, I'm so glad she has buff removal because he has, I mean, look at this. Got giant defense up, evade, crit, attack, like, you know, it's so good if you can remove his buffs, and we can do it like every other turn. Sounded like Nobukatsu there a little bit. Like, similar vibes. So Guts slash... Oh, fuck. Yeah, I need to cast Guts next turn. I mean, he could kill me here, but yeah, I need to cast Guts next turn. Slight mistakes. I think he removes his debuffs. I don't want to do art because we have to crit. Yep. Break, there you go. Level 99, by the way. Oh, look at the loops, though. Man, we didn't proc Guts. God damn it. The dream is to get Guts back, then use Atlas. So just don't insta-death me, brah. Lobo, don't proc insta-death. Okay, we're good. I think we're gonna win now. Would have been a lot better though if I hadn't messed up our first Guts. That's a pose. So I really like that she removes buffs. That's so powerful because she can NP pretty often, and so she's pretty reliably keeping the enemy buffs down. That's a pretty big deal, honestly. Because that's the whole, like, Lobo is so annoying with this buffs, dude, and then we're keeping them pretty reasonable. Okay, this turn's a little suspect because we have a slight gap. We have 2-hit evade, and then no Guts for 1 turn. So I mean, Lobo will probably buff once. It's pretty normal for him, but if he doesn't, we're gonna have a really bad time. Actually, I'm gonna art and then use my first skill, and probably MP again. No triple buster. Like if he attacks 3 times, but the final attack is quick, and he doesn't crit, we will probably still live. If he double attacks, we live. Alright, so I think we're very favored to not die here. Like we're about to win. Like we don't die this turn, we absolutely win. Okay, we win. Because even if I don't kill him this turn, I have another turn. Whew, okay. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, she's clearly a really good solo unit because this stage has generally pushed pretty good solo units a bit, right? It's not like super easy by any means. And she's got it, so... Yeah, I'm ready to zeke the app. Got my finger ready here. He might live this turn, though. And there are some fights where that buff removal is going to be even more valuable than it is here. Woo, very nice. But see, like, even with one of her stacks, she's doing less damage than you would be doing if you were counterclassing. Obviously, you're probably not going to be counterclassing an Avenger, but you see what I'm saying. But she's still got really good survivability, and you can still get good damage. And if you try, you can kind of manipulate the Guts thing and get more out of it than you normally would. Yeah, she would do just fine against Zeus because she's an Avenger. So then she's counterclassing, so she'd be just fine there. She got really fun gameplay too. Yeah, she's pretty fun. Let me think if there's anything else on this account we could use her for. That'd be good for testing. I guess we can do Uriel and Asterios. That's not that hard, but she's not counterclassing anything, and we can kind of see how she does against debuffs. Thankfully, Atlas is meta for her, so I think she's alright. If Atlas was not meta for her, it might be a problem, but I think she can handle it. I don't think if there's any wanted quest that would kind of... Maybe Tesla. But she's got buff removal, actually. So, not even Tesla, I think she's got... Honestly, the buff removal's awesome. I think she's going to be a damn good solo unit, just because there's just so many options with that. It's like if the enemy has Pierce Invulnerability or Invulnerability or Guts or something, she just gets rid of it. Like, that's great. Why am I forgetting what I am doing right now? What? Oh yeah, Uriel, that's 1.5. There we go. This one? No. It's the fourth one. There we go. I don't think Tesla would be even remotely hard for her, because the whole thing that's hard there is his, Oh, hey, Gabe's got her too. Actually, I think Gabe's the one we just used, because, No, I don't think it was, because we had a different CE than that. I have no idea. I wasn't paying attention. I guess we'll just go with that one. Good enough. I think we did use Gabe, so that was at NP2 then. I think it said different CE, I think is what it was. Yeah, and if they do have her PNG thing, and her damage is nuts. Although at that point, you're probably going to be breaking health bars so easy that it's irrelevant. So survivability is a bigger deal, but thankfully she has pretty solid survivability, so... Alright, well, Uriel gotta die. No idea when to cast my guts. Oh good, we have debuff clear command code. That's very helpful here. She should have this. And again, they have a gimmick where she gains a defense buff, but you can just remove it, so... Same thing with Asterios, he's got a big defense buff, and he puts attack down on you, but... Just remove it, forehead! Okay, guarded the curse, but what are you gonna do? Can't win them all. Not like that damage is gonna matter all that much. I have seen curse be the reason I broke before though, like when you're really pushing it. It does happen. 93%, okay, that's I could use my first skill. I don't think that's worth it right now. Yeah, I don't think. That might be one turn too soon. There's some trial and error with kind of getting used to that. I should have attacked Asterios that turn, because I would break her NP. Okay. Okay, this will give me my NP. That actually would have been worse if she had attacked, because then you think he would have hit me. But because she did a skill, it doesn't. I guess I need an NP. Kinda sucks. We just feel like a disgusting crit turn here. I think I cast Guts too soon. Unless Asterios Buster crits me. Asterios can seriously Buster crit you for like 12k here and crap like that, so... You never know. I'll be gonna attack Asterios again there because we're probably gonna die to the NP next turn anyway. Aha, you missed! You noob! Would've gotten my NP anyway. Yep, we whipped Guts. Shit. Okay, I don't think we cast anything this turn because Asterios is gonna NP and only have one action per turn, so we probably won't die here. Yep, I gotta cast Guts a little bit later. The thing that sucks is, if you get unlucky, you actually do need to cast Guts early, because if Asterios does buff for you, you're probably gonna need it, but if it doesn't... Early on, though, Asterios only gets one action per turn when Uriel is alive, and it could be a buff, so overall I think it's unlikely that you would die early. Oh my god, what the fuck? Uh-oh. That's not ideal. Well, we could have gotten a bunch of stacks, but we didn't. God damn it, dude. Well, at least we get, like, ludicrous overcharge. I could target switch once I get my NP. That would be... If I can break Asterios' health bar this turn, that's worth it. I can't waste those crits. Okay, I probably should have killed her, because she gives him a crit buff. I see what they did there. Dude hasn't done his strengthening quest. Well done. Alright, this is looking good. I got a little wonky in there, but it's fine. Yeah, she's a pretty good solo unit. Like, no doubt. She does have like the cool alter thing where it's pretty easy to get to a point. Like, I'm telling you, you're gonna have really hard fights, like challenge quests and stuff you're trying to solo. And that turn where you have evade but you're one turn off from having guts. No, it's not super like RNG because, you know, enemy casting one buff is not rare. But there are times where they're gonna triple attack and you'll die and you'll have to reset. Like, that's definitely gonna happen because there's gonna be fights that you have to go the distance, right? You can't win before that, and you've got to play it this way with Atlas and kind of, you know, hit those buffs so you get that many like hard survival procs. And yeah, there's definitely times where that will happen. That's kind of where cool alter is as well, and that always bugs the shit out of me. But yeah, you get unlucky, you just do it again, and you'll probably get it. But because her overall, if that doesn't happen, her total survivability and damage output is extremely high, and then she also, you know, is removing enemy buffs. That's really, really good. Might win this turn. I'll do slow-mo if has more time to beat the app. And if she doesn't win this turn, we still have guts and amazing mobility, so no big deal. You could always cast, because the thing is, we're not actually at that point. Like, this one didn't really have that RNG, because we hadn't even used our invulnerability yet and stuff. But like, if the fight goes on long enough, you're going to have some turns like that. Like, it's going to come down to that. But I think a lot of fights she'll be able to win before that point. It's only the really hard stuff that's like pushing her to the limit on value. But yeah, she's very good in a solo. Very good damage, very good like NP spam. You know, remove buffs, great survival. The only issue is, I guess, she doesn't have like crit down or debuff clear, but you can compensate for some of that with just command codes. So yeah, looking pretty good. And then in her niche, then she's crazy disgusting. All right, let's go back to the ult account and get some of the event done here. We're procrastinating over here. Can we get an Asterios animation update? Give me a second, I gotta twink the camera and sound and everything. Having to use, I like each account I have to use a different method to stream with. Kind of ridiculous, but welcome to FGO! Doesn't have an account system. Hey, if they had a Minotaur costume, I'd be cool with that. Okay, I think I got it. Alright, give me like 2 seconds here. I'm gonna grab water. Just give me 1 second. Gotta hydrate. I'm glad we got that Lobo stage, though. That's a nice stage to test people on, so feels good, man. Dude, if Corrupted Ushi is, or Corrupted Ushi, Avenger Ushi, whatever you want to call her, not Ushi, whatevs, Possessed Ushi, Rainbow Ushi. Anyway, if she's like one of your favorite characters and you're going super ham, MP5, level 100, 2K foe, command codes, all that nonsense, I think her performance is going to be crazy good, right? Like, Yoshi, yep. But yeah, I think her, because again, Avenger can use her anywhere. And just the buff removal is so good. So yeah, I think she'll be pretty amazing in, like in her best case scenario where you really max her out, I think she's going to be pretty damn good. Alright, I think we still need to kill sky enemies. I think that's where we're at. So, golems. I think it's mission 32. UI, please. I need 3 more. Okay. One of the newer free quests might drop it as well. I have no idea. Yeah, I've heard Corrupted Ushi got the animation update, and her NP looks pretty cool, but I have not gotten to see it yet. What did they drop in this stage? I think tier 1 and... no, tier 1 and 3. Okay, that's kind of weird. And then a bunch of tier 2 CEs. More tier 2. God damn it, it's all tier 2 and tier 1. Give me one gold drop boost here, game. Alright, fuck it. We'll go with the spawn. We'll do the spawn one. Imagine having story replay, by the way. Like, what a concept. So loud. I hope we don't have this RNG buff for the challenge quest. It's not that I mind them giving you like a bonus in the challenge quest because they just make the enemies tougher to compensate. That's not the problem. It's the fact that it's RNG which one you get. So that would just be awful. I really do need a level Spartacus on this account though. It'll help a lot with farming. Spartacus Arash can pretty easily clear out the first two waves, even with like very minimal support. And I'm going to grill Spartacus on this account at some point, so it's worth. Yeah, really good voice line there. Man, his hand could have been better. Urk got this. I don't know why I did invulnerability and evade, but it's because there's the stage gimmick still. Just keep the stage gimmick, no problem. Dude, I want a free 4-star ticket. I want this account to get MP2 Herc. It's gonna be amazing. So here's the thing. They have acknowledged that people want story replay, and it's such a basic. I keep saying this, but it's. My brain cannot compute why we don't have it, right? Like, it is such a basic video game functionality, right? Like, every other fucking game has it. It is just insanity that we don't. But knowing DW, and like, for example, never mind acknowledging it, they straight said they were going to fix the command code UI. They said they were going to do it. That was a long time ago, right? The fix is something, it's pretty simple. It's just UI stuff. You know, a lot of devs do stuff like that very quickly, and we still don't have it. So if it's taking them this long to just the UI update for this command codes, that is so simple. If it is taking them this long, how fucking long do you think it's going to take them to figure out like the UI and everything to do story replay? So, you know, they might want to do it, but that don't mean it's happening anytime soon. Yeah, next anniversary, I know, right? God, yeah, for the command code UI, the next anniversary for story replay, just... God, dude, I can't take it anymore. I do think it's going to happen. I've actually thought for a long time that story replay was going to happen, and I've never really... Nothing's ever shaken my belief in that. It's a matter of how absurdly long is it going to take them to do it? That's the question. Yeah, I know, they're 3 years later and they still haven't done all the day one people. And it's like, if you look at the... I will say, this year, this last like 6 months, they have stepped it up and we're starting to get animation updates a bit faster. But there was a period there where it was just going so slow. And it's like they clearly just were not prioritizing it at all. But it looks like they're kind of stepping it up a bit. So, I mean, thank God. Because, dude, it's not just like a personal preference and everything. It is not good for a game. You want new player retention. It's so important. And when a lot of the 1 to 3 stars, which is going to be the majority of characters people are getting, when they look like ass, that ain't good. Right? Like, that's not good for your game. I will give this to FGO, and this is though why I'm glad they're doing these animation updates. So a lot of people are free to play. Way more free to plays than not, right? So you're gonna have people that like get into the game, and because the 1 to 3 stars is the stuff that they're going to get, you know, a lot of them people are going to get attached to. Like, oh, I like this Ushi character, or I like this Spartacus guy, right? And so when you first get them, their levels are relevant to the story just fine. You know, they don't fall off in comparison to if whatever 4 or 5 star you happen to get early on. But then once you start getting to around, you know, Camelot, stat-wise, they might start to fall off a little bit, especially from Babylon and on, right? You know, once they hit their natural cap, you know, because like Spartacus' natural cap is 60. Spartacus is doing just fine up until he can't level anymore, right? And then you're going to start feeling that, you know, he's falling off. But oh look, now you have a bunch of Grails. And you're like, but man, I've really liked this Spartacus guy. I've enjoyed using him as like my bruiser this whole time. And I see that he's falling off now. Let me just slap a Grail on this bad boy, and then you just keep going, right? That's what I like about the Grail system. You know, if you get into the game and you got those, you know, couple of low stars you're really liking, and then if you start to feel like they're falling off stat-wise, you just Grail them. No problem. You get plenty of Grails. And that's why it's good if they have good animations. When people get into it, you know, let's say you have Ushi or something, and you know, now she looks good, right? Her attacks don't look like crap. I mean, there's not that many 3-star rewards from singularities anyway. And then, so Kiyohime and Bedivere actually make up a decent chunk of the percentage, so... But yeah, David animation update win. Did I unlock the thing? I guess so. That's just a free quest though. Do I not have a main story right now? What? Is it time gated? How it can't already be time gated? We've done like nothing in this event. Like what? We've literally done like, yeah, no more goblin. Hey Arjuna. I'm gonna guess this stage drops tier 2, Matt, because just guessing. Do I have the other one yet? No, I don't. Well, Arash not gonna do us much good here. I feel like time gating actually it makes mission events easier unless you do them late. Like because it makes it easy to see what you need to do each day and you just meet those goalposts. But then if you start the event late and a lot of time gates are already up, then it's kind of fucked. Don't worry guys, Arash has got quick up. He's got this. I agree story lock shouldn't be a thing. However, I'll say this, and because of this I'm actually pretty grateful. I think story lock has prevented them from making certain things limited that otherwise would be. And I would much rather something be story locked than limited. People act like it's the same thing. It is not. And that it is bullshit to act like they are the same. Because, for example, my newbie account has Asclepius, and it got it pretty easily, as does every single other account that I have. You know, I've gotten every single story locked 3-star on every single one of my accounts. There's a reason for that, because it's actually very doable very easily, right? It's like, yes, you have to put some SQ into it, but you can get them at any time. Where if they're limited, a lot of my accounts don't have Mori and Izo. I wonder why. What could be the difference, right? Like it's story lock is a million times easier to deal with. It's like it's basically semi-limited, right? Where it's like, yeah, they're harder to get, but if you put the effort into it, you can get them even as a free-to-play. And then also you can for 4 stars, right? So like Canis, for example, you can use your free 4-star ticket on them. Where if Canis was limited, you can't do that. So story lock is just way less shitty. And back to my point, it's like if they didn't have story lock, I think Canis would have been limited. And that would be so pants, right? Because then like Zaw, for example, couldn't pick her as his free 4-star when that rolls around. So yeah, if story lock gets them to limit things less, then I'll take it. However, ideally we wouldn't have either, but you know, that's dreamland there. Yeah, like food. You know, there's a reason I have Asclepius on every single account, even though he has not rated up, where I don't have Fujino. Right? There is a reason for this. Yeah, it's much tougher on 4 stars because rolling story to get Asclepius is a chunk of SQ, but it's not that bad. But rolling story to get a 4-star is very bad. Like, trying to get Canis through story rolls, good luck. Like, good fucking luck. But it's still better than limited. And again, it's mainly, for 4 stars, it's mainly about the summon ticket. That's the main reason it helps them. For 3 stars, it helps them because it's, getting 3 stars from story summon is truly not that bad if you're, you know, really trying in the long run. But with 4 stars, it is bad. Very much so. But again, free 4-star ticket. They were limited, couldn't do that. You can't pick Fujino as your free 4-star ticket, so, you know, rip. If I could get randomly spooked by Tesla at any point on my main account, I would be happy, but that's tough. I need them to rate him up. I should like level my skills because then I could NP right now and that would be great. That didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Well, they're all dead now. Yeah, they didn't do a free 4-star because of the free 5-star, which kind of sucked because a lot of people like certain 4 stars more than any 5-star in the game. So hopefully we'll get a 4-star at some point in here. But they've done way more than 2. Yep, the 5-star did not include story lock, which is weird because the 4-star one did, and I hated that so much. I think that was an oversight on their part, though. I don't think they really thought about it. They really screwed over some people because of that. So what they did was, they did the free 5-star ticket that was unlimited characters only, so no limited ones, but then also no story lock. But then they right after that, they did GSSR for limiteds only. So if your favorite was Tesla, for example, cough cough, you had no option to gun for him on either of those things. It was, and I mean, that was so fucking lame. Ha 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 ha. Okay, I guess that's our main story. Just hopping around. Gotta beat mission 13. I don't remember what that is. Let me look. Defeat pumpkin enemies. Well, that's easy. So, from what I can tell, this is like a hodgepodge of like past singularities or something. I don't really get why though, and this seems like the Halloween event, because obviously it's not Halloween right now. But like something, which is weird, they've done that theme before. It's not like this is the first time they've done that kind of thing. I guess either one of these stages work. And then the main enemy you need to kill, I need on both accounts, or I have missions for anyway, so it really doesn't matter which one I do. I guess I'll do this one just because I didn't do it much earlier. What did this stage drop? Probably mostly drops tier 3, or tier 1, I would think. Although I've got so many bronze, nah, yeah, I'll summon one with gold. It probably drops fuck all gold mat, but because I've got all these bonus CEs. Experience, yeah. What a load of shit, dude. Look how excited people were when they did give out the free 5-star. That motivated people more than not, big time. It's like people like using their favorite units or something and getting cool things. Who would have thought? Waiver ticket. See, a lot of people though didn't pick Waiver because they already had him, or they just didn't care enough, right? And for real, a lot of people had Waiver because he is unlimited. So if you've been playing the game for 5 years, you're actually pretty likely to have gotten Waiver eventually. I don't know about super likely, but decently likely. If you've been playing for 5 years, it's not weird if you've gotten a random Waiver spook, right? Not at all. So those people probably wouldn't even consider using it there. Why do I have Karna on the team? But a lot of people haven't been playing the game that long, so I would imagine Waiver was the top pick. But I don't think it was as many. If you add up all the other picks and combine them, they probably were more than Waiver, right? He was probably the single most picked, but I doubt he was even 50% of the picks. Probably pretty close though. And some people aren't gonna pick him because they'd rather get another 5-star that they just really like. They're like, yeah, I'm doing fine enough on farming and I've got good enough support, so no big deal. And I mean, that's totally logical to me. Oh my god, can we get a poll? This will be fun. Can we get a poll? Do you have Waiver or not? It doesn't matter, NA, JP, whatever. Just, can we get a poll for, do you have Waiver, yes or no? I'm actually super curious about this. And if you play multiple accounts, just go with, like, if it's on any of the accounts that you really care about, right? If you've got them on any of the accounts you really care about. I actually, do we have a mod here? Might not actually have a mod here. Oh, we got Zaw. Zaw got it. And he can do polls. Yeah, and we might do some of the other supports too, and kind of just look. I'm so curious about this. Do you have Waiver? I guess I'll vote too, because I do indeed have Waiver. Wow, look at like more people have Waiver than not. Like a good amount. Jesus. I guess he is Mr. Overwork. Is Hans good enough? I mean, Hans, jokes aside, Hans is a really good support, so he does help out a lot. Wow, though, that is a lot of people with Waiver. I would have loved to have done that before the free 5-star and see how it affected things. Okay, this will be harder because this one's not unlimited, right? You can get spooked by Waiver. Anybody can get spooked by Waiver, or they could roll on him on a rate up. But let's do you have Merlin next? We have to wait for this vote to finish, but let's do you have Merlin next? I think there's gonna be a drop. I mean, Merlin is obviously a lot of people want to get him and aim for him and save up for him and all those things, but he is limited, so I would think that would cut down on those numbers. God, I technically have Merlin too, because I got that fucking spook way back in the day, dude. It wasn't really a spook, I just used one summon ticket as a joke and I got Merlin, so. I think way less people are gonna have Merlin for so many reasons. You know, one, he is limited, that's a big one. But then, so here's the thing, you can not gun for Waiver and get him anyway. That's the boat I'm in. I never gunned for Waiver, I just happened to get him. And I think a lot of people are in that boat, but some people do gun for him. So you're combining those two groups. You have the people that actually gun for Waiver and the people that just happen to get him. When we do Merlin, it's only going to be the people that gun for him. You know, there's no randomly getting him. So I suspect this will drop off hard. Yeah, we'll do Scatty. We'll do Scatty. Oh my god, then we'll do Tam. We should have done Tam first, because she's easier to get. But yeah, we should have done Tam. But we'll do her in a minute. Wow, though, way more people have waiver than not. That's brutal. But yeah, I guess he has Mr. Universal, so... I didn't pay attention to if they dropped more bronze or gold. Oh well. Do you have Merlin? Alrighty, I have to vote yes, unfortunately. Because it's even on my main. This is going to be fun. I like asking about support, so we might even throw a Nightingale in a minute. I figure a lot of people haven't leveled her if they got her randomly, but there's more people with Merlin than I was thinking, but I guess he is, you know, OP as balls, and so a lot of people probably do gun for him. Although you cannot be spooked by him, I'd imagine more people gun for him than a lot of other things, so... I don't know why I'm casting that. We got the evade this time. That's closer than I thought. That's closer than I thought. But yeah, clearly way more waivers than Merlin here. I actually like Merlin as a character a lot. I think his voice actor kills it. I just don't like his gameplay because it trivializes things so much, at least for challenge quests. He's actually not that good for farming. He's okay for farming. He's certainly better than like what I'm doing right now. But he's nothing amazing for farming. But the effect he has on challenge quests makes me not enjoy the game. It makes the challenge quest so much easier. I'm not really having fun. Outside of maybe using a really scuffed account or something, which I am doing right now. But that's a different matter entirely. But yeah, Merlin is a lovable shit. Yeah, pretty much. Alright, do you have Scatty? It's up, boys. I actually tried to get Scatty, and it was because I like Quick so much. But then I found out that she was kind of broken, and it's sad face. But she's really not broken if you only use a single Scatty, but she's forever in that camp where people are gonna be like, oh, she's OP. But she is OP when there's two of her, like, big time. Yeah, I tried to get her, because I used all that, like, SQ they gave out for the anniversary on her. Because I was like, yeah, I love Quick, and I wanted to have the option, so... Wow! More I wonder if this is because NA knew that, how broken Scatty was. I wonder if more people gunned for Scatty. I'm surprised at these results. I'm truly surprised at these results that many... I'm not shocked that more people gunned for Scatty than Merlin, but that many more? Like, the percentage swap on that is pretty big. Alright, let's do Tam. Let's do Tam. So, if we do Castoria, we have to... Okay, wait, we're doing Nightingale, excuse me. Okay, Nightingale is next. This will probably be Spooks only. I hate to say this for Nightingale because she's cool and everything, but I suspect about 90% of people that vote yes are just gonna have been spooked by her. I suspect hardly anyone gunned for Nightingale. You know, where people actually might, you know, gun a bit for waiver and the spooks, right? Like, go for both. And they could reroll at the start of the game for waiver. You can't do any of those things for Nightingale, so I think she's going to do pretty badly here. She's not doing too bad, though. Be a little bit better than I thought. But yeah, I think that those yeses are spooks only, I suspect. Okay, but if we do Castoria, we should do her last, because most of, I think, my viewers are NA, and NA don't have Castoria. So only vote if you play JP. Otherwise, you're gonna skew the results so hard that it's not really right. So yeah, if we do Castoria later, please only vote if you play JP, and at least somewhat actively. It's okay if it's an ult, but let's do Tam. Let's get Tam in here. So far, waiver is destroying everyone. Yeah, you could add I play NA option. I like that. That's fine. I do not have Tam, actually, on any of my accounts. I have never had a Tam on any of my accounts. Which is funny, she's one of the few big supports. I think I may have accidentally voted yes. Oops. I'm not sure. No, I think I voted no. I voted no. I kind of autopiloted for a second there. Anyway, she's one of the big supports that I actually think has fun gameplay, and she does not trivialize challenge quests unless you combine her with other big supports. But if the only big support on your team is Tam, she does not trivialize content, and she's a very unique gameplay style, and it's very fun and awesome. I actually think Tam's gameplay is just, like, super fun. especially if she isn't working with like Waver or Merlin or Caster or Toria, then I think it's such a blast. But I've never gotten her because I don't like her character very much, so I've never even thought to roll in a raid up, and I've just never happened to get her any other time either. So yeah, wow, so Waver and Tam are both more have than have not. But I guess they are both, you know, unlimited and popular, so you get spooks and people gunning for them, so it does make sense. But I'm surprised Tam beat Merlin by a pretty sizable amount. Okay, let's get, do you have Fuji now? Okay, let's do Castoria next. Do you have Fuji? Let's see, I don't think I have Fujino on any account, dude. Yep, that's feels bad. One of these days I'd like to get her. But I feel like, mine would always be so much weaker than Beastly's, right? I'd be like the blasphemous Fujino. Kind of like this mini Ushi. It's like, I'm Ushi, right? It's like, not quite. Okay, we do have some main story here. Whew, that's a lot of no's for Fujino. There's a decent amount. In there. Alright, let's get Castoria next, and then put an I play NA option so you don't have her, right? So we can kind of hope the data's not too fucked up. And no voting no if you just don't play JP, right? This is a story stage, so it doesn't really matter what I bring. Let's show off some Ushi. There's no point in doing Miyu. Miyu's not a big support. No hate for her, but like, she's not even close. She's not even close to being in the big support category. Like, not at all. That's just like any other limited raid up, really. Do you have Caster or Toria? I do not. Even though they gave out so much free SQ. If you had none saved up, you actually had an over 50% chance of getting her. But I didn't even throw a single summon ticket at her. So not really my kind of character, and I don't need meta supports. So, and even on my main account where I do kind of want to farm efficiently, I've got Scatty, Waver, and all that. It just doesn't matter. But yeah, looking like I'm not surprised by this. That most people play NA in my stream, right? But then of the people that play JP, more people have her than not. I am not surprised by that. That is part of why she's on support lists so much. You know, people act like she's on support lists so much because she's just so meta, but it was really because she is meta and everyone fucking has her because she was so easy to get. I mean, it was nuts how easy she was to get. Because, yeah, they gave out unbelievable amounts of SQ and summon tickets, and she was popular in meta, so yeah, I mean, it was so common that people went for her. I think on NA, it's going to be even more of a slaughter, like everybody's going to get her. So, hey guys, this is like the wanted quest from Saber Wars, right? Like, totally. Slight difference, the Caster and Saber ones switched slots. These switched around there. They do have some kind of damage up, it looks like. And before the fucking one-shot me. I doubt it, though. Hey Lucky, thank you for the bits, man. I appreciate it. All right, let's take a break from the polls. We don't want to tire people out here, but that's fun to do every once in a while. We'll do that again in the future. My God, though, the amount of waivers. Fucking George is still alive. I'm gunning for the Saber because I don't want her to cast Invulnerability, even though I could kill the caster faster. And yeah, okay, no, didn't do it. You wasted the Buster up though. Well done. Leonidas is probably not going to die because of the evade. Do you have max skill Hans? Okay, that's the last one. No more polls after that. So I guess it has to be 10-10-10. I do have Hans at 10-10-10 on multiple accounts, actually. Not on every account, but on a few of them. He is pretty great budget support these days, though. I can't believe they buffed Ushi. I just, for a third time. Like, what the hell, man? Did she do 61k? Probably. She's level 85. 999, close enough. Although that is a big value hit, especially on the third skill. The third skill really is worth getting to 10. Because that extra NP per turn and star and cooldown, that really matters. Yeah, oh, sorry, we're an event servant. Of course we were gonna do the damage. What am I thinking? She got event bonus going on here. Crit, crit, there you go. I wish we could have done that waiver thing though before. Well, I mean, really, I don't think the results would have changed that much. Because as we saw, most of my votes were coming from NA players, and the NA players haven't had the free 5-star ticket to vote on for waiver. So that gets back to what I was talking about, because once those players, all those people that got, you know, waiver on NA, once they get around to that free 5-star ticket, they're not picking waiver, because they already got them. And then out of the people that don't got him, some of them are not going to want him. So I'm sure plenty of fucking people are gonna pick waiver. I don't think it's as many as people think at all. Yeah, I really like how green Ushi is. It's funny. I'm very happy with her animation update because although I think her clothing looks stupid because it looks like she threw it in a blender. I like Ushi's personality just fine, and then she's a staple low star. I used her on all of my. I'm sure y'all have noticed. On all of my accounts, I use Ushi very often. So now having her be stronger and have way better animations, I'm pretty damn happy with. The time gate, I want to. Oh, is there a Grail in this event? Because there probably is, because it's a singularity, so. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grail, my Darius right now is 80. I think I'm going to grail him to 90, and then I'm going to start grailing Tesla, and then just pray that they give him a rate up before I make it to level 100. And then I might go back to grailing Darius again, or I just maybe save up a bit. I would like to have a Darius at level 100 at some point, but 90 will be good enough in the meantime, I feel. I mean, hell, he does good enough at 70. He really does. Like, Darius is a damn good unit these days. I'll go tier 2 drop. Probably don't need to bring all these bronze ones because I have a feeling this stage isn't going to drop them, but whatever. I'll bring one less one because even if there ends up being a bronze drop, it's not that big of a hit. You're not entirely wrong, Zaw. Dude, the green on her NP looks great, so... By the way, there are barely any characters in this game with green hair. It's bullshit. It's like the least used hair color in the game. At least Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem gives the color green the respect it deserves. FGO sadly does not. At least we got Achilles, though. Yeah, it's Achilles, Atalante, and Kidu, and I guess kind of Rice Man. That's more like seaweed, but it's kind of in the realm. Thankfully, every single, that I can remember anyway, every single character that has green hair, oh, and David. How am I forgetting David? What's wrong with me? Anyway, every character that has green hair, I also like. Unless I'm forgetting somebody. But I like Atalante just fine, I like Achilles a fuckload, David's awesome, Rice Man's like my favorite, but I have no problem with Rice Man. Rice Man's cool. And I don't think there's any other green hair people, so... But they got that quality going on over quantity, but it'd be nice to have quality and quantity. And yeah, in Kidu, of course. Kidu's like top. One of my absolute favorite 5 stars in the game. Salami isn't. That's way more seaweed. I'm not. That's like teal almost. I'm not sure that quite counts as green. And yeah, Kiyohime is definitely teal. She's super teal. Yeah, let me look at Salami real quick. Let me see. I almost spelled Salami instead of her actual name in there. It's pretty teal, honestly. She's kind of in between, but that's definitely on the teal side, you know, which is in the realm of green, but still, that's not really what you think of when you say green hair in anime, right? But Rice Man is also kind of skirting the line like that too. They're both skirting the line, I would say. I don't know how I feel about Salami as a character. I normally like crazy characters, but she is just, you know, she's full on yandere. Yeah, it's not even yandere. It really isn't. It's psycho. Like, my god. Like, I don't know what the hell's happening with that character. Favorite green-haired Fire Emblem character? Let's see. Probably off memory. It's been a while, but so I'm very biased towards like Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. Those are like my favorite cast overall, or a lot. So probably Oscar or Neffany. Might be Oscar though. Oscar is pretty awesome. Neffany gameplay-wise, Neffany's gameplay was hilarious and just amazing, but Oscar's pretty hyped, dude. Yeah, but one of those two, they were both great. Those two characters, anytime I play like Path of Radiance, I always use both of those characters like as my top characters. They're both awesome, so I like both of them character-wise, to be clear. But Oscar really is quite great. He's the best of his brothers. I feel like Oscar is such an overlooked character in Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, but I really think like if you do see his support conversations and everything, dude's awesome. Like he's really cool. I really like Code Geass, but I don't really care about CC. I don't hate her. She's kind of just there. I have so little like hype or hate for her. Very neutral on that one. I think she, you know, does the story good, although the way she's initially introduced is pretty wonky and kind of plot contrivance. But after the fact, I think she's, you know, good for the story. Dude, fucking Boyd. Boyd is like, I always hate Boyd's gameplay in Path of Radiance because it's so RNG. He is such an RNG unit with like his biorhythm being like doubled. He is so obnoxious with how, and now in Radiant Dawn he's way better. He's also way better as a character. I think he's kind of annoying. I think Boyd is kind of obnoxious in Path of Radiance, but he's definitely better in Radiant Dawn. But I like Path of Radiance a lot more as a game, so I don't even play Radiant Dawn that much. I haven't played any Fire Emblem game in ages, though. I don't really keep up with Code Geass because everything they made after the first two seasons I think is terrible. So I have no expectations of them anytime they make anything Code Geass related. It's one of those things where that story on no world should have ever been continued because it was so complete, set, and done. And then because it was so popular, they tried to get more out of it. But getting more out of it is so counter to what the show was about that it's just shit. Literally everything they have made since the end of the second season is bad. I think Chibi Ushi is going to be popular. Wait, what did he drop? Okay, just tier 2, nothing else. I should check missions and see what I need. Dude, I really like a lot of the subplots in Radiant Dawn and Path of Radiance. Some of them are like really interesting. I like Path of Radiance overall as a game a lot more though because it's a lot better paced and it's a really nice complete package. For Radiant Dawn, there's a lot of good things about it. Like there's so many units and you know, you can really kind of, you know, all-star team it up and that's nice. And the skill system is better. I will say Radiant Dawn's skill system is just better than Path of Radiance's. There's no comparison. But I think Path of Radiance has better like levels. Radiant Dawn has some good levels, but it has a lot of like filler crap levels. Like Radiant Dawn just has way more stages in it. but a lot of them aren't good. But some of them really are, but so the pacing just doesn't feel very good. Where Path of Radiance, every single level is good, and they have some really cool side objectives, like winning that one level stealth, right? You don't aggro anyone. So overall, I think Path of Radiance is just a better, like... And, like, I like following just the one group of characters, so you can just always use Oscar or Nephany or whatever, and Har, and just always focus on those side stories. Where we do Radiant Dawn, you're having to switch factions constantly, and some of the factions you might not like as much, and it's just kind of all over the place, and they have a lot of filler stages that are, like, designed for grinding and stuff, and it just makes me not like Radiant Dawn as much. But it's still good. I still like Radiant Dawn, because it has good things about it, because it has some really cool characters that aren't in Path of Radiance, and it has that much better skill system and so on and so forth, so plenty of positives. But Path of Radiance, I would say, is definitely my favorite Fire Emblem game. And a lot of the newer ones I don't even like that much, to be honest. Ever since Awakening, I feel like Fire Emblem is kind of... They've changed priorities, and that's fine, they can do what they want, but it's not really for me. Like, the gameplay style has changed. They've been way more, like, waifu-focused. And it's something that's happened that I really disagree with, because, so Fire Emblem was about to get canceled. They were literally going to cancel Fire Emblem because it just wasn't doing well enough. The reason they did not cancel it was because Awakening did so well. They said if Awakening did not do very well, they were going to can Fire Emblem. I think they were going to can the studio, too. But Awakening did incredibly well, but the thing is, I think the reason Awakening did well was simply because it was the first Fire Emblem game that was on a really popular platform, and it was actually marketed, right? Most people didn't know what Fire Emblem was, and they'd never played it, and it was never on a console that was mainstream, like, adopted. Wasn't Awakening on 3DS? 3DS was one of the most adopted consoles, period, ever. Like, just in human history, right? So many fucking people had 3DS, and then it actually got a bit of marketing, and I remember a lot of, like, word of mouth on YouTube spread that it was, like, this really nice handheld game that, you know, and so overwhelmingly, more people's first Fire Emblem game was Awakening. It wasn't like, oh, this was this game that turned the series around because it's so much better. It was because it was the first game that anyone fucking knew about. But because Awakening did so well, and it's like what, you know, put the series on the map, they've kind of made every game since Awakening kind of like Awakening. And I don't like Awakening. There's so many things in Awakening I don't like. There's some things I do like in Awakening, but, you know, obviously the core idea of just a strategy game on a handheld is nice. But they've really changed, like, the series has really gone towards that direction ever since it, and I've not liked the series nearly as much because of that. Like, not even just gameplay-wise, but just, like, graphically, like, the aesthetic of the series, and then, like, the way they kind of characterize characters now and everything, it's not really my cup of tea anymore. Roll a Raj here. The thing is, even Three Houses still has the same kind of aesthetic as Awakening. They have just changed their aesthetic big time in that direction, and Three Houses is still totally in that vein. Like, it's kind of like, if you look at Awakening and Three Houses, they're fairly different, but if you look at each game that led up to it, each game is not that different from the last one. From Awakening to Three Houses, if you look at them one game at a time, it's like, yep, you can just so easily see where the aesthetic is with just minor changes. And even gameplay-wise, they've changed a lot of stuff in Fire Emblem that it's not really my cup of tea anymore. And then, again, they've just become so much more waifu-focused. And, you know, there's always been some degree of, like, you know, waifus, but not really, it's not really been, like, the focus of the story and, like, the way they, like, characterize things and do side quests and everything. That's completely what they do now. Where, like, most of the side quests, like, I really think, like, the side stories were better in the past by a lot. Because a lot of the side stories before were about things like, you know, growing up in a racist environment, or growing up without self-confidence, or having a family you don't get along with, or, you know, a lot of, and, like, fucking Stefan's side quest, dude, that was a thing. They covered a lot of interesting characterization stuff, and now it's almost always an excuse for my dating sim, right? Which they didn't have any of that in the older stuff, and I don't mind if that stuff is going to be there, but it's been such a focus, and if they've lost so much of, like, the interesting like character ideas and interactions from the past, and there's still some of that, sure, but Yeah, it's just, it hasn't interested me nearly as much anymore, and I haven't liked the gameplay as much anymore either. I don't know why my chat is now talking about incest, but I would like to point out, it is objectively wrong to say there's nothing wrong with incest, because genetically, this is just a fact, this is not an opinion, this is a fact. Genetically, incest is very dangerous, and is very bad, and it's not fair to kids. Now, I don't give a fuck what people do in their own free time if they're not affecting other people, but yeah, I think if you have kids, that's bad, and that's objectively shown to be bad, and that's not good. But if you don't have kids, I don't give a fuck what people do. Like, it's just none of my business. Now, the thing is, in a story, it kind of depends on how you portray it, because a lot of stories portray it as it is okay, and it is, you know, not a problem, and a lot of people aren't going to look up the science and realize that there are huge problems with it. That's what the issue I have. It's like, you know, a story can be whatever it wants, and it's, you know, I'm not thought police, so I'm not for censoring, and, you know, people can write and put out stories whatever they want. But I do see people act like glorifying it, like, and I more mean the audience, not necessarily the writer or whatever. But you see people like glorifying it and acting like there's no problem, and the story says there's no problem, and it's all good. But that's just, it's not like that, right? There are real scientific and genetic reasons why it is very, very bad. Oh my god, in Awakening, I remember you fucking could not get half the units in the game unless you had everyone bang everyone. That was so dumb. That was another reason why I did not like that game. That, like, there would be a lot of units that like, oh, I want to unlock that unit. The only way to get them is to have this unit bang that unit. I'm like, okay, I don't fucking think so. Like, that's not what I want out of my Fire Emblem game, thanks. And again, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is like they boil down a lot of like the support conversations and side quest stuff to just always romance. And if people like romance, that's fine, and it's totally fine to have some characters get romantically involved, because a lot of times it's going to be natural and make sense and be part of character development, but a lot of times it's not, and you know, it's just dumb, and I don't want my entire game being nothing but that, especially when in the other games you had all this variety with the different character interactions and friendships and whatnot. It, you know, and a lot of that just went out the window, and I'm like, oh, okay, well. So the Game Boy games, the like older Fire Emblem games, I'm kind of mixed on. There is some cool characterization and some cool stuff like that. Like Hector was awesome. And some of the gameplay is really good, and the sprite animations are 10 out of 10, just like those crit animations, oh man. But the gameplay is pretty simple in some of those older games. Still some good level design and that kind of thing, but the gameplay is pretty simple. I really like, I think Path of Radiance kind of found the right balance of like where it was with the simplicity and RNG and everything with the good map design and all that kind of stuff. There's a bit of more RNG in some of the older games too. Although I guess some of the newer games had that as well. God, there was so much wrong with Awakening. Oh my god, there was so much wrong with that game. Awakening specifically, like some of the newer games, I still don't really like them as much as the older games. Like, it's not even close. But some of the newer games I definitely like more than Awakening. I think pretty much every game after Awakening is better than Awakening. And I also think pretty much every game before Awakening is better than Awakening. Awakening fucking sucks. I'm just gonna say that. That is not a good Fire Emblem game in my opinion. I know some people love it to death, but dear god, I don't like Awakening. Like, there's so much from, like, a game design standpoint that I'm like, this is dumb. And, like, never mind the romance spam and all that, although I'm clearly not a fan of that, but this was such a gameplay decision that I disagreed with so hard in Awakening, and I think it made the game so trivial, even on higher difficulties, for God's sakes. So, in a lot of older Fire Emblem games, if you fused two units, right, you had two units share the same square, it was a nerf. It was like an emergency button. They called it rescue, right? So you might have a caster that got exposed and they weren't able to move anymore, and you're like, oh shit, they're probably gonna die. But you could have a really tanky unit grab them and, you know, so they couldn't be targeted for that for a while, right? But that would nerf your tanky unit. They couldn't now move very fast and they'd have lower stats and stuff. But it could be a good, you know, oh shit button, right? And then you might say, oh, but oh damn, my tanky unit, you know, tanky units, even if they're not rescuing someone, are kind of slow, right? And so you have to, oh fuck, my tanky unit can't get to them in time. But my cavalry unit, you know, who can move like 80 spaces, because LOL old Fire Emblem games, they can. And the cavalry units, although could rescue people very easily, were not as tanky, but they were still kind of tanky. So they were like that nice balance of, okay, I can rescue easily, but I might be risking it on them surviving or not, so you're gonna have to be careful here. And so yeah, that kind of gameplay was nice. In Awakening, when you fuse units like that, it like doubled your stats. You got stronger. And then there was no penalty to just being fused all the time. And because Awakening had significantly simpler map design, and I have to say most of the newer Fire Emblem games have much more simplistic map design, which is another reason I don't like them as much. It was so easy to just hold choke points and just force the enemy to always attack that one unit. And because you have double stats, you will murder every single opponent on the... It was so easy in Awakening to have one unit just kill everyone on the stage. Everyone, right? And you could force the enemy to always attack. It was stupid. Like, just dumb. Like, oh my god. So I ended up intentionally, like, not using the fusion system in Awakening because it just made the game fucking so dumb. Yeah, I think their map design has gone down the tubes lately. Like, I think after Radiant Dawn, and I don't think Radiant Dawn had, like, the best map design, but it had a few stages that were really good. But, like, in Awakening, if I remember correctly, they literally only had 2 objective types. It was kill a boss or kill everything. That was in the entire game. Where in, like, Path of Radiance, for example, you know, you had escort, you had defend points, you had last amount of turns, you had escape, you had kill everything, you had kill boss. There was a fucking stealth mission, right? Like, way more variety in the objective types. Now, they have gotten better about that since Awakening, thankfully, but I still don't think they've ever gotten back to, like, their golden age. Thank you for the sub, was it Finrear? Thank you for the sub, dude. I appreciate it. By the way, FGO has never been kind to Finrear. I'm just putting that out. Awakening did have some good boss music, though. Some of their, like, boss themes were quite good. Yeah, Fire Emblem has changed a lot over the years, and I just don't really like where it's at now compared to where it was. But, you know, it's not... other people love it to death. Good for them. That's fine. I don't... That's totally fine, you know? I enjoyed the games that I enjoyed, and that's that. And if other people like what they're playing now, that's, you know, good for them. Although, I would like it if we could get, like, both styles of game. But I don't think they're ever gonna go back, because... one, the waifu, like, dating sim aspect that they've, you know, really expanded on is really popular, so that's not going anywhere. And then 2, like, the way they've kind of changed the series gameplay-wise and stuff, I think is just more appealing to more people, so I don't think they have any incentive to ever go back. Now, there are some people that do like, you know, I know plenty of people that got into Fire Emblem, like the newer games, and they've gone back and played the much older ones, like, oh wow, I really do like this, you know, older style, but some people don't. But so there is a market for that older style, but I don't think that market is big enough to warrant them not always spamming what they have now. So, but who knows? Yeah, the mobile Fire Emblem game sucks because, well, okay, here's the thing. There's some good things about it. It's very fair in terms of, like, safety net, and it's so easy to, like, acquire rare units. And, like, I barely touch that game, and I'm swarming in rare units that I like. You know, I've got Har, Nephany, Black Knight, Oscar, you know, pretty much all the big stuff I want I have, and that's just barely ever touching the game, for God's sakes. Legion, by the way, Legion is best. But oh my god, I mean, they made the game so simple. You know, the maps are tiny, so there's no movement variety. If you look at, like, the older Fire Emblem games, you have so many different movement types between cavalry, tank, you know, mercenary, you know, Wyvern Lords. The amount of movement variety and, like, how much different units can move is so massive, and it's because the maps are so much bigger that they can do that. But yeah, if you can only bring 4 units and everyone can barely move, it's a paper rock scissors game. You know, it's not very fun, and there's so many power creep problems in that game, and the units are not unique, and it's kind of like you just strip them for their skills to give to other units, so you can make any unit whatever you want, right? It's not great. So yeah, I think Fire Emblem... what really gets me about Fire Emblem Heroes, which is the mobile game, is that it could be fucking incredible. Because there's literally nothing about a phone game that cannot emulate the gameplay from any Fire Emblem game that has ever been created. Everything from Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn and Sacred Stones or whatever the fuck it was called, Blazing Sword, all those games, and Awakening and Three Heroes or Three Houses, the fucking names. Anyway, all of the gameplay mechanics in all of those games can all be put on mobile. All of them, no problem. But the reason they omega simplified it and made it so a monkey could play it was because they're trying to appeal to a wider audience. Which I don't think even worked, by the way. I truly think Fire Emblem Heroes would have exploded and been, it is popular, but it would have been like just, oh my god, popular if it had gameplay on at least on par with like Three Houses or Awakening or whatever, right? Or Fates, right? If they had gameplay at least that in depth, I think Heroes would have absolutely exploded. It would have done so well. I think them trying to dumb it down actually hurt the game. I really think it did. Because the thing that's good about Heroes is, you know, they're always they add new content, they add new stages. It's an ever-developing game, so you know people are incentivized to keep playing it. Where with the other Fire Emblem games, once you're done, you're done. Only has so much replay value. It has a lot of the Fire Emblem games have replay value, but not necessarily as much as a game that adds new stages and new units and new bosses and stuff. But then the gameplay in Heroes is just so basic. It's just sad. But it does suck because it's cool having all those characters from all the different Fire Emblem games, because Fire Emblem games have got some really awesome characters, and even though I don't like the newer games as much, there's a few characters from the newer games that I like, and then of course I like Lyn and Hector and all of them, and Matthew, from the older games, they're awesome, and then all the the games I really like Path of Radiance, they're in too, so like Har is like my favorite characters. I get to use Legion and Har, that's awesome, and Black Knight, you get to play as the I have fucking what's his name? Ashnard as a character. I unlocked him as a character in that game, and he's awesome, and he'd never be playable otherwise, right? That's fucking like if that game actually had good gameplay, I would be so happy, dude. Like if it had levels with like depth, I would really, really like that game. I would fucking stream that game, but yeah, it doesn't have that. Yeah, being able to play as the baddies is dude, Ashnard was awesome. What I liked about Ashnard as a character was he was obviously a villain and a dickhead and all this stuff, but he had good qualities about him and it's funny too, because you can see why like the certain aspects of him that were bad allowed him to not like be racist and stuff, right? Like a big theme in Path of Radiance was like, the racism between the humans and the not humans, and it wasn't just like the humans were racist to the animals. A lot of the animals were racist to the humans too, right? Like that was like a whole thing, and it was a lot of like the societal stuff, and some of it was kind of ham-fisty and really cheesy and stuff. But that was like a big theme of the game, was just like that aspect of it. But then you have Ashnard, who is the main villain, so you would expect him to be super racist, but he's not at all. Like the whole overarching theme of the game is like dealing with racism and stuff, and the main villain is not even remotely racist. He doesn't, but he's still evil as fuck. The whole thing is, he doesn't give a fuck if, what kingdom you come from, what species you are. He only cares about like, ruling with an iron fist and if you're useful to him or not. They're like, wow, well, he's not racist. He's just, might makes right kind of guy, right? So that was just kind of funny, I thought, that you had the main villain not be even slightly racist, but just, super... You kind of see how, oh yeah, if the only thing he cares about is power, of course he doesn't care about what nation you come from or if you're a human or not, right? So that was just kind of funny. But, he had a cool design too and everything, so yeah, I really liked Ashnard as a villain. Yeah, that's like the whole thing, that's what I actually liked about it. They didn't make it just, oh, humans bad. It was like, they're the ones in power, but they're both dicks to each other, right? And that's pretty normal, where you have like knee-jerk reactions to these kinds of things and stuff, so... The whole thing is you gotta treat people as individuals, right? That's the thing, and that's how it is in real life. I mean, humans are terrible about this, right? It's almost like generic to say this, but humans are so bad about this, where we're always trying to deal with people in groups, as a group identity instead of their individual identity. We always do that, and it's because it's easier to, it's easier to deal with the world quickly and make, broad stroke decisions like that, because you don't always have time to deal with every single... Because when you're walking on the sidewalk, you can't deal with every single person as an individual. That's the thing. But, yeah, we're really bad about that, because we... And this scares me, because you see a lot of ideology these days getting pushed, where people truly try to act like the group identity matters more than the individual identity. Like truly, some people nowadays think that your group identity is more impactful on your life and who you are and everything than who you are as an individual. And I think that is such a dangerous ideology, and I think it's dumb. Like, of course your individual self matters more, right? Because it's like, you know, it doesn't matter what religion you are, it doesn't matter, you know, what race you are, it doesn't matter, you know, nearly as much as like what environment did you grow up in, what did your parents teach you, what have you experienced, what, you know, what's your, you know, education background, what job did you pick, how do you interact with people. Those things shape who you are as a person so much more than any individual, you know, any individual group that you're a part of, right? Like, you know, like, because it's just crazy to me. Like, that's such a basic thing to say. Of course we're individuals, and of course our individual experiences and thoughts and histories and everything matter way more than our whatever group we happen to be assigned to, right? But for some reason, a lot of people don't see it that way anymore, and I don't really get it. And we like to say, oh, well, you're this, so that means you must have this experience, and you must think this thing, and you must have, you know, had these hardships or not hardships, right? Like, but it's ridiculous, right? It's like you've got to take people on an individual basis. I have plenty of Ushi videos. Now, if you mean Ushi Avenger, obviously I haven't made a video for that, but I don't, like, chop at the bit to make 5-star videos, because generally, whenever a new 5-star gets added, there's a million people that make videos for the new 5-star. So I'm like, I don't need to do anything. Now, I will say, generally, the one unique thing I can do, and maybe I should do this, I don't know if people want me to do this or not, but what I generally do is if I'm going to show off the new 5-star, I'm going to show them off in a more budget setting, right? Like, you use the one 5-star, but everyone else on the team is budget, and that really changes things. I've got a video for non-goblin Ushi, although I guess it's not really a gameplay video, but I mean, she'll show up in videos because I use her all the time, right? It is so common that I use Ushi in my videos that I don't think we're at any risk of not seeing more of her. But I got one for her animation update, but I'll certainly use her in gameplay when the moment arises. Hans is in a lot of videos too. I wonder, see, I'm not sure. I want to say Ku is in more videos than anyone, but I have consciously over the last like 2 years tried to, you know, I know I still use Ku a lot, and I'm still happy to use Ku, but this is kind of where I'm at with Ku now. So I still really like him, and in my own time I use him all the time. But I've got so many videos of Ku doing so many things that show off his value in every context imaginable. I've got him in team videos, I got him in frontline, I got him in backline, I got him in solos, I got him in last man standing. I've killed so many crazy hard bosses with him. I've shown off his value in like every which way. So I only feel like I should use him in a video when it's something, it's one of two things. It's something that's really hard and it's cool that Ku can do it, or if it's really like cool story, because, you know, and I'm unapologetic about this, Ku's my favorite character, right? So if we've got a really cool stage, it's like very story relevant, I'm very happy to use Ku for it, even if I could do a lot of other setups for it, right? Like, of course I'm happy to fight like some big final boss or something that's like, you know, with Ku. Now, sometimes I'll still do it with someone else because it might be easier to use with them, or it's very character specific to them, and I also happen to like the character, right? So I'm happy to use, you know, other characters like Enkidu and Canis and Mordred and all these other characters and Billy, right? I'm happy to use them too, but, you know, when really big stuff comes along that I'm really happy, Ku's my priority, really. But yeah, I've used Ku a lot less over the last 2 years for videos, just because I am trying to, you know, make videos for other units, and there are other things I want to show off. So Ku's probably still in more videos than anything else, but I'd be curious over the last year what's been in the most videos, especially team videos. I try not to use Ku in a team, and it's funny, I get a lot of like naysayers always saying it's because Ku's not good in the team. It's not that at all. It's actually because Ku is too good. Because my Ku is grailed and all this nonsense, he makes, like, if I'm trying to do a low star thing, a lot of times he makes it so much easier that it kind of kills the video, right? I still will use him in team settings sometimes, but I try to save it for when it's a really hard stage, like for team play or something. Because otherwise, Ku kind of just ruins the whole thing. But yeah, I kind of wonder for my team videos what I've used the most in the last year. I want to say it is probably Hans. Probably Hans, Mash, Qingong, because they're just so applicable, and David. They're just applicable in so many scenarios. And even if you added in solos, I try to spread the solos out, and it's not like I do Hans or David solos much. So, although I have done a David solo against that version of Solomon where you don't get the bond bonus, so it made the stage much harder. I did that one, but that's about it. I haven't really done solos with him aside from that one, so. Alright, let me look at where we're at mission-wise here. Kind of autopiloting. I should make another Martha video. You are right about that, Zaw. I like Martha, and she has really interesting gameplay. I'd make a video for her tomorrow if we had story replay. But you gotta find the right time. But yeah, you are correct. I have not made a Martha video in a long time. Some of that is because there's like other people that make videos for her a lot, so I feel like, you know, I don't need to as much, but I really should anyway. Because yeah, she's got the animation updates and she's super good and everything. Dude, I made so... Literally look at my channel, I have so many Mori videos. Dude, it's because I like... Mori's one of my favorite characters, and then his gameplay is just so much fun. Oh my god, I can't help myself. There are so many times I make Mori videos when I'm like, I really should have done a different setup, but I do it anyway, just because Mori is so much fun, dude. I have so many fucking Mori videos. Like, I did Avenger Ushi, one of the most recent, you know, main story major bosses. I did Mori for, and then there was like the Nobu challenge quest. I did Mori there as well. Like I do them all the time. See, Kai likes to throw in a few like higher rarity stuff on his team, but he doesn't like throw every like, you know, OP thing on it ever. And so because he likes Martha, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna, you know, like, yeah, I'm gonna use 1 to 5 stars, you know, no limits, but I'm not gonna try, you know, Kai doesn't like slap, you know, Merlin and Waver everywhere by any means. But if you're in that setting, Martha's gonna, if you have Martha, obviously if you don't have her, she's not gonna make the cut. But if you have Martha in a 1 to 5 star setting where you're trying to use your favorite characters and you're trying to use what's good, but not be like OP, like use like the broken shit, Martha's gonna make the cut all of the time. And then Kai also likes Martha, so yeah, it's fairly logical that Martha's in his videos a lot, because seriously, if you're doing 1 to 5 star content, trying not to be, you know, double Merlin or double Scatty or whatever, Martha is so helpful. Debuff clear, enemy buff clear, right? Kinda good. And then Ruler Martha, you know, it has the divinity counter against so many bosses, dude. But yeah, if they add story replay, I'm gonna be able to make videos that people want a lot more. Because a lot of times people ask me to make videos for servants, and it's not, I'm happy to even make videos for characters I don't like, because it actually gets me to like think about music that I don't normally think about, and think about stages I don't normally think about, and that kind of thing. So I actually like sometimes making videos for units I don't like, but I don't like making videos, especially, okay, for example, what's a unit I don't like, or I'm kind of meh on, kind of in the middle, what the fuck? Throw some names at me, Chad. I know Liz. That's probably more disliked than I would like. Or Nero. Nero's alright. But, so... I'm happy to make... Mev, there we go. Okay, so if I was gonna make a Mev solo video, I'm probably not gonna make a lot of those, right? Maybe only 1, right? Maybe 2 tops, right? So when I do it, even though you might think because I'm kind of whatever about Mev, I'm gonna be happy to just throw it away and kind of make a whatever video and just, you know, autopilot the video out and get it over with. I'm actually not like that at all, because I'm so not like that, because I'm not crazy about Mev, I know I am not gonna make a lot of Mev videos. And so I want it to be very good, right? Because I want people that like Mev to really like the video, and then I want the gameplay to be really good, because I'm probably not gonna make a lot of videos for her. I want to find a stage where she's not gonna just easy mode win. I want the gameplay to be interesting, and you have to actually use her kit properly and really push her on value, right? And then, so it's hard for me to make a Mev video, because first off, because she's not one of my favorites. I'm not like thinking about her all the time. or ever. And so a stage might pop up in a main story, and I don't realize, oh man, this would actually be a stage where I could really push Mev on value and really show off, you know, how to use her well and that kind of thing. So I'll just miss it. And then because we don't have story replay, when someone's like, hey, can you make a Mev video? I can't be like, okay, let me look at all these past bosses. What's a boss I can really pick that's gonna both push her, but then also show off how good she is, right? Or hey, do I want to use her in a budget setup? Like, for example, people are saying Mev versus Kirsch. That's a terrible setting to show her off. That's what I'm talking about. That's a terrible setting to show her off, because she won't work unless you go LOL, Merlin, Waver, CE. You know, I don't make videos like that. I'm gonna do a team setting. I'm not gonna be like, LOL, look guys, I'm a whale, right? I'm not doing that, right? That's not gonna happen. If I was going to use her in a team setting, I'd want her to be the only rare thing on the unit, because I like that, because then it really shows how good she is. You can show how she can, like, carry. You'd want to do a stage that she couldn't, like, you would never be able to solo it with Mev or anything, but then you do it in a team setting, and everything's budget, but then the one rare thing is Mev, and then you can really show off just how good Mev does and how much damage she has. Even if her supports are really budget, you can show off how hard she hits, and you got, like, the utility and everything, right? That'd be the kind of thing I'd want to make, and then in a solo, you'd want her to, you know, have to really push her on value and play her perfectly, and then... So, it's not easy to find a stage like that, is what I'm getting at. It's not easy to find a stage like that when you don't have story replay. I'm not necessarily going to have a stage that works like that. And then, so that's just Mev, you know, then you've got, like, all the other, you know, fucking units out there, all the, you know, random shenanigans people want me to make videos for. I do not want to shove out like a solo video on a unit and then have it just be whatever, right? Anytime, especially for units that I don't use often. Like those, I almost have a higher standard for, because it might be the only time I ever make a video for them. So, dude, whenever I make a one-off video like that, where I know I'm probably not gonna use them much, I normally spend so much. Dude, I'm telling you, I don't like Mev, but if I made a Mev solo video, I would take forever to like pick out the music and do the editing and stuff, because yeah, I wanna make sure it's good. I'll probably take more time on that than like the typical thing for like a unit I use all the time. Alright, let's see, where are we mission-wise here? I'm guessing we're at the time lock. So it probably doesn't matter what I do. Just do things that I have missions for, really. Which is basically every single node right now, so... We don't even have repetitive classes, because there's like... Isn't there, hold on, let me look. I think there's a mission to get Camelot medals if you kill enough of a certain class, and I want that for Ricky Boy, so I don't have to go do the Camelot free quest. Because Ricky Boy needs one Camelot medal to final ascend here. Let's see. There's a few missions I think that give Camelot medals. One's mission 17. Actually, that might be the only one. A lot of bones. Mission 68, okay, you got 17 and 68, both give Camelot medals. Can you actually complete those yet, though? Because I also am going to need oh, there we go. 36 apparently does too. I need, what is that? Defeat 40 beasts. Okay, that's probably like the werewolf guys, and there's other missions for them as well, like Earth Element and things like that. Let me make sure there's no other beasts. Okay, that's no beasts. No beasts. No beasts. Yeah, it's probably just the werewolf guys right now. I'm sure there's something else later. Okay, there's them and them. Which one has more? I want to say this one does. I'm not really sure though. I might just do both once and see. I need everything from both of those anyway, so. What did the stage drop? I guess I'll summon Gold Mat. I can't remember which one it drops more of. Gib Gold? Well, you don't see that CE much, the Angelica one. Chat, yay or nay, do you think at some point they're gonna add... Is her name Angelica? I think it's Angelica. Anyway, do you think they're gonna add her at some point? Because I remember there was like a real battle between Miyu and her on which one people wanted to add it. And I actually think more people wanted Angelica than Miyu. I just think the Miyu people were a lot more vocal about it, and obviously because she's like a main character, you know, it's very logical to add her. I think they will add her if they ever do something with Prism Ilya again. If they do anything with Prism Ilya again, I think they will add her. If they don't, then I don't think they will, so. I wonder where Fate Hollow lands on their questionnaires when they ask people. Why did I bring this team? Anyway, when they ask people, because they ask people what they want to collab with the most and which stories they like the most and stuff, I wonder how Fate Hollow keeps up. I don't think it does very well because the average player of FGO really only watches the anime. They don't read the visual novels and the books and that kind of thing. And so Fate Hollow is like this random ass thing that most people don't know anything about. Like, I think Angra's from it or something. That's all they got. So I kind of feel like Fate Hollow probably does pretty low on like the collab scale and favorite work scale and all that. Which is a shame though because Bazette, right? If they ever did something with Fate Hollow, they would almost assuredly add Bazette because she's like the main character. Although they kind of split who the main character is, but if they ever did Fate Hollow, then Bazette would get in super easy. Yeah, I don't blame people for wanting Fate Strange Fake a lot though. It's got so many crazy, awesome things in it, and it's pretty unique. And like that writer's writing style is just, you know, pretty one of a kind these days. I don't know what they'd make Bazette character-wise. They might make her a Berserker. That'd be kind of annoying, though, to be honest. Berserker's applicable all the time, but then they also die all the time. So, if they're like... They can be hard to, you know, make work and not just be a sacrificial lamb, right? Why am I not NPing? What am I doing right now? Like, I'm killing a guy that I could have killed with my NP. Like, if I was gonna punch somebody, I should have punched Drake. Like, literally, I just used that turn to kill a guy that would have died to my NP anyways. So, like, I did nothing with that turn. Now, making her a single target caster would be nice, because we need more of those for budget players anyway, and if she's a welfare, it's at least kind of budget. And, it makes sense, because she is a caster, she is a Magus. I mean, Rin even says she's a greater Magus than Rin is. Like, just the typical magecraft nonsense, never mind the punchy kick stuff. Yeah, I think canonically caster is the best for sure, but it's almost so obvious that I think they'll try to make her something else. Like, they love to just, like, jump the shark and do stupid shit with that kind of thing, so I think, like, Berserker is almost more likely, but we'll see. Oh my god, she could be a single target quick caster. That would be so awesome for this game, dude. I would love that to death, dude. I hope she's a welfare, though, because if she's a welfare, that means she'll be herself instead of, like, being possessed by some random deity or whatever, so... That's why I'd want her to get in through, like, Fate Hollow or something, because that would increase her odds of just getting in as herself. When in doubt, make the character Archer? Yeah, pretty much. Wait, did I do the mission there? I wasn't paying attention. Let's find out. The one reason, though, I kind of want her not to be a welfare, though, is because her animation quality would be greater if she wasn't a welfare. You know, they do not put as much effort into welfare animations as, like, new 5 stars and 4 stars. Sometimes they still put a decent amount into it, and sometimes animations can look good without them putting a lot of effort into it. So, who knows? But I do think it's pretty obvious her animations would be better if she wasn't a welfare. But I don't... The thing is, if she wasn't a welfare, I think she would be, like, possessed by somebody, and then she'd be wearing, like, you know, Quet's clothing or whatever, right? And so I wouldn't really be a fan of that. So overall, it's probably better if she's just a welfare. But if you could have the dream where she gets her normal look and self, and then she's not a welfare, she would probably get better animations, so... Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword where something's going to be wrong either way, most likely. Alright, where's Ricky Boy here? There we go. I think I got the... I don't think I beat the mission. I think I got a drop from the Pumpkin Knights. Yeah, the suit is the best. Sometimes when they make pseudo servants, they're, you know, pretty much themselves anyway, like with Waver and a few others. But it's like Russian roulette on what you're gonna get. I'm so glad to finally have Ricky up, dude. Let's fucking go. He's gonna save our ass against Demeter. Him and Ushi are our tickets to beating that. Who cares about the new welfare, man? We gotta get Ricky Boy up. Quetz is being possessed. It's just she's possessing somebody that you've never seen before. She's possessing some random like priestess that we know nothing about. So it's an excuse for them to just make Quetz, right? Which is fine, but obviously if you use a character we know as the base, then they're not, you know, it's not gonna really work out the same way. Same for Joan of Arc. Although Joan of Arc's a little different because in the book, the character Joan of Arc is possessing is an actual character and has like some personality traits and stuff. But they're also extremely similar to Joan of Arc anyway, so. I'm actually kind of sad that Demeter is going to be easier with Ushi's buff. I kind of wanted to redo it. It won't make that much of a difference though. Like the way that fight works, it'll be nice, but with the way break bars are and everything, I don't think it's going to matter too much. Please tell me I've been using her in the back row because you need, I'm sure there's a mission to bring her like a bunch of times and to get bond with her. Oh god, please tell me she was in the back row. I have not been paying attention. Waste! Apparently you can already get her crazy high levels, that's the thing. She was in the anime, but not really. Like there's a whole bit in the book where she's talking to Joan of Arc and she's worried about like getting body jacked and everything. And like they're just talking to each other. They cut all of that stuff. Which I think is a real mess because it's like a whole thing where Joan of Arc is actually really worried about hurting her vessel and everything. And they downplayed it so much in the anime that it's not really a thing. And like when you have that moment near the end where she's like, please be careful with the body. That's kind of just random, right? It doesn't really mean as much where in the book you have like actual characterization for that character and stuff, so. I did not pay attention to how many werewolves ring this stage. Whoops. Oh my god, she's not in the back! Fuck me, dude! I did so many stages. I did so many stages. I always bring Ushi because she's a bonus servant. I'm so sad, dude. I did so many stages. That would have been so much Bond. That would have been so much fun. Bond 2 is 20k. Great. Great. Dude, what is wrong with me? And I played a little bit off stream, but I was using like the same team and I wasn't like, you know, paying attention to my gameplay, and I'm pretty sure she wasn't on the team that entire time. Holy crap, what have I done? I mean, I want Bond on Hans. You know, that's good. Gotta get that Bond CE. It's useful. They do not like Ushi at all. What the hell was that? Yeah, I'm trying to get Bond on Arash and Hans. They're my big targets here. Right, who's salty about the Ushi update? Why? Oh, the enemies? Yeah, they want to get an animation update too. I actually think the old enemies should have animation updates. You don't have to make them super fancy, But you want the game to look better. You want the combat to be more visceral and that kind of thing. So I don't see any reason not to. Especially the enemies you fight often. And especially the ones that use as bosses, like the boars and the dragons, those I really stand by. It would be good for the game to give them animation updates. You know, you want to be able to have a giant dragon boss fight and have it actually be epic. Instead of I slam ground real good. Yeah, I would actually say out of all the enemies, it's not my subjective pick for who I want an enemy to get an animation update. It would not be the dragon, but objectively, I think updating the dragon is the smartest thing for them to do, and it would be good for the game. Like, I really think so. So that 7 Deadly Sins game, they have like their Noble Phantasm, you know, ultimate attacks. And they have like a generic giant dragon, and they actually gave him a proper like NP animation where it goes like this fancy camera and everything. And it actually looks like awesome, like super awesome, so that was really cool. We're having so many problems with getting Nursery Rhyme, like the D-based nade, so we're probably just gonna make Soldier 8 hyper remote next. But we're still gonna get the Nursery Rhyme mode at some point. The 7 Deadly Sins game's alright, and the cool thing at the PvP is you can actually kind of play the PvP casually and have it not even really be PvP. You can just fight bots, and it's kind of fun gameplay, and you get a lot of rewards from doing it. Like, I would recommend doing the PvP in 7 Deadly Sins even if you don't PvP, because you don't have to do jack shit, and you'll get so much loot from it. But it's okay. I don't think, from when I played of it, you know, it does not have boss fights that are half as good as the boss fights in FGO and Arc Knights and all that kind of thing. The gameplay's a lot duller, I would say, but it's all right. It's an okay game. I didn't mind. I don't have time to play it much. So I haven't played it in ages, but it's okay. You know, if you like the IP and stuff, I'll say this: they add more game modes to the game than FGO does. They already have a permanent Setsubun style event that resets like every month or every week or something. Okay, that's definitely time gated. Well, we still need to kill beasts. I'll do this stage. I'm still not paying attention to how many of these are on the stage. I don't know what the stage drops, but I'm pretty sure it drops bronze because this is the first free quest you unlock, and those pretty much will always drop bronze. Give me 1 second. I gotta grab a snack. I am crazy hungry right now. Food is good. Actually, I should get like more water while I'm up. That would be wise of me. So, chat, I don't particularly like Fate Extella Link in terms of like story and gameplay and everything. It's very shallow. But, oh my god, Darius is so much fun to play in that game because his moveset is just amazing. It is like the meatiest thing ever. And I'm like, can we please get an animation update to get some of that like slammy slammy boom boom stuff? And there's green everywhere. He does like so many like axe smash, make green boom stuff. It's great. So Gwen's NP looks pretty cool in Extella Link because it's just, I mean, this is NP, go boom, right? But I actually think the voice acting for it, or voice directing, I should really say, is better in FGO by a lot. Like, I don't think the timing on like when he says the NP name and everything is just all wrong, and like it's not really that great. But yeah, seeing it in 3D and all that is cool. I probably should have Stella'd this wave, but I'm really not paying attention to the things I'm doing right now. At this point, we might as well Stella the final wave. I wish we got a game like Extella Link that had more depth to it, like way more depth to the combat. Like a 3D action game with Fate characters, like sign me up. But I mean, most Dynasty Warriors games have the depth of a puddle and they're just super boring, and Extella Link is no exception. If anything, it's worse than the norm. I've heard that the Zelda Dynasty Warrior style games actually aren't too bad for like gameplay. They're not like, you know, Sekiro or Neo or some shit, but like they're decent. Surely they're going to make a fighting game at some point. Like, it's insane that they haven't made one already. One of the questions on the questionnaire, though, was like, what kind of Fate game would you want to see? And they did have fighting game as an option, so. Yeah, like, the problem is they don't ever hire devs that are, like, really experienced in the genre that they're working in. It's not recently. And they kind of just, they've been making a lot of shovelware with Fate, which I think is a real mistake. Their IP is, the reason shovelware happens, it's because they're trying to strike while the iron is hot, right? Because making a really good game is expensive and takes quite a while. And they're afraid by the time they get it out that the IP's not going to be as big anymore. So they just try to shove something out quick. But Fate's brand is strong enough that they could take their time and make a good game. So far, I have a lot more respect for the Grand Blue Fantasy devs. Because they've been taking the approach of, we need to make really quality games that stand on their own. So people get into them that aren't even into Grand Blue Fantasy. And they just get into them because of this game. And then they get into our IP in general. And that is so much smarter. Nobody is getting into Fate through fucking Fate Extella Link. Right? Ain't nobody gonna have never played a single Fate thing ever and then play Fate Extella Link like, oh, I'm sold. That's not gonna fucking happen. Right? Because if they're looking for a Dynasty Warriors game, there's so many better ones. I guess the only thing it has going for it is it's one of the few ones on PC that's like anime inspired, right? That's like the only thing it has going for it, really. Where a lot of people have played the Grand Blue Fantasy fighting game that were getting into it because it was a fighting game and really liked it. And then now they're making like a Monster Hunter style game, and it, you know, they're putting a lot of effort into it, and it's been in development for a long time. And I think a lot of people are probably, myself included, most likely, are probably going to play it who don't play Grand Blue Fantasy, the mobile version, and that just that strengthens their, you know, their IP, and that gives them more options and whatnot. So yeah, I think they're handling it very well, where Fate so far has been handling it very poorly. But Fate could turn it around in a blink of an eye. So. Because like Arcade is pretty shallow as well, honestly. And, you know, nobody can actually play the damn thing. Yeah, most of their picks for who they hire, I have not been a huge fan of. Like, no offense to them, but they're normally pretty inexperienced or, you know, whatever. But then you also have, you know, time frame and budget. But yeah, most Fate games are shovelware, and I think that is just, I mean, come on. There's a huge difference between Fate Extra. There's a huge difference between Fate Extra and Extella Link. It's not rare for people to have started Fate with Fate Extra. That's not rare at all, because it has an actual story. Like, it's actually pretty common for people to have gotten into Fate through Extra, because back when Extra came out, first off, the IP wasn't that big, so it wasn't like a given that people had even known of the visual novel. And then it was on a handheld that was pretty popular at the time, especially in Japan. And it was like, hey, this is a popular console that's, hey, look, it's a you know, anime story-driven game. Of course people are gonna get into that. And although I'm not a big fan of Extra personally, they put plenty of effort into the story. It's not shovelware. Extra is not shovelware in terms of the story. It absolutely is shovelware in terms of the gameplay, but it's so story-driven that I think a lot of people can, you know, look past that part, and it did pretty well regardless. Although I think it would have been better still if it had actually had good gameplay. But Extella Link has a garbage story, and so does regular Extella. And then their gameplay is also very, very shallow. It's more visually appealing, but you know, depth-wise, it is not really any better. It'd be slightly better. It's hard to be worse than rock, paper, scissors, to be honest. A Genshin-style game would be nice, but I'd actually want them to have a little bit more depth with the combat system, especially to show off all the powers of the servants. And that's the one thing that disappoints me about Genshin is I think each character should have 2 skills and an ult instead of 1 skill and an ult. And then I wish every character had a strong and a weak attack, and then obviously just the basic stuff of being able to do like strong, weak, or weak, strong. Like, that kind of thing gives you way bigger moveset. And you do things like, so Genshin's a little floaty, like physics-wise. Now, they compensate for it pretty well, and it's a lot less floaty than a lot of games. But it's not like as tight with like the movement and how you can like knock enemies up and stuff like a game like, you know, Ninja Gaiden is. It's not nearly that tight physics-wise. But if you can get a game that's that tight physics-wise and stuff, you can do things like, you know, knock up combos, and then, you know, air combos and drop combos, and reasons why you want to knock down, and then enemies that are immune to that kind of stuff. You don't want every enemy being air juggled and things like that. But if you could add that kind of thing, so you care about which strong and light attacks you do, and then you have 2 skills and then like an NP, that would be awesome. I think that'd be phenomenal. I mean, there are a lot of PSP games that have light years better combat than I really think Fate Extra has some of the worst combat of any game that has combat on a PSP. Like, for God's sakes, that Joan of Arc PSP game has a million times more depth to it than Fate Extra. It's not even close. It's not even fucking close. Like, it's a complete blowout, right? And there's so many strategy games and turn-based games, and there are, you know, some action games and 2D side-scroller games. Like, dude, there is no end of PSP games that have plenty of depth. There's actually a lot of PSP games, like such side-scrollers and whatnot, that have like really good depth. And seriously, that Joan of Arc PSP game, which is literally just named Joan of Arc, that's just the name of the game. That game blows Fate Extra out of the water in terms of gameplay. It actually blows That's a surprisingly good turn-based game, to be honest. It wasn't half bad. You know what's sad is they're starting to set up mobile better. Like now mobile, in the last update coming up, they're gonna let mobile players plug in a controller and stuff like that. They really didn't have to make it as simple as they did. And I think 2 skills would not have been hard for mobile people to deal with. And as far as I'm aware, they actually have more PC players than mobile players these days. And most people use mobile kind of on the side. Like, oh hey, I can, you know, get my dailies done, you know, on the train or whatever. But I think Genshin is actually going to... games like Genshin are going to replace MMOs. They're going to, like, fuse. But, like, you know, games that are continually developed and have, like, a world and, like, you know, add dungeons or whatever. But I think that and the combination of, like, you know, how Genshin is run, like, you know, I think those are going to fuse, and that's going to be... I really do think games like Genshin are going to be a big thing in the future. It's going to take a while, though, for them to... because the technology to make games easier to make is still developing, and it's going to take people a while to... it takes years to make games, and so I think a lot of people weren't even thinking... which is weird to me. I'm surprised we haven't seen, like, Hero Collection and things like that applied to other genres and stuff more. So I'm surprised it took as long as it did for something like Genshin to get made. But yeah, I think you're going to start seeing more and more games like that, and some of them are going to be shovelware crap that doesn't work. But at some point you're going to get other ones that are even more excellent than Genshin, and they execute it even better than Genshin. And that's going to set a precedent that people are going to be like, oh my god, we got to make these games, right? And I think that whole MMO space that's pretty dead right now, I think that's going to get pretty much replaced by games like that, like very much so. I almost want to summon someone with Bond Boost, but I probably shouldn't. I have never watched a guide for Genshin ever. I have watched other people's videos, but I'll do that after I've seen the content. Like if I watch someone else fight a boss or something, I make sure I've done the boss first. I just enjoy learning, you know, too much to like rob myself of that experience. MMOs are pretty dead because when you look at like the market, like obviously there's still people that play, you know, certain games like Final Fantasy and WoW and stuff. But when you compare the numbers to what it used to be, it's almost impossible to make an MMO now where it wasn't before. And a lot of people that play the MMOs that are out there are not happy with them. This is a very common sentiment for people that play WoW or the Final Fantasy game that I forget the name of. Is it 15 or 16 or something? Anyway, it's very common. They're like, yeah, this, you know, I play it because it's all there is, but it's not really what I want. That is such a fucking common sentiment in people in MMOs these days. Like, and the reason the industry is so stagnant is because it's so difficult to make MMOs from like a financial standpoint and a time standpoint that no one wants to take any risks, and it's just they don't get made much. Like 14, okay, excuse me. Anyway, so because of that, you know, it's very stale, and there's no innovation, and they don't hit a lot of different demographics. You don't have a lot of MMOs with different styles, and it's oversaturated though. Like so what few people are willing to play what's out there is completely saturated. So if you make an MMO that's like WoW or like Final Fantasy 14, ain't nobody gonna play your fucking game because like that style of MMO is oversaturated, and it's too risky to try to make a different style of MMO. But I think Genshin is gonna show people that you can do other things, and I think it's gonna kind of it's gonna like bridge the gap between games like Genshin and MMOs eventually, and you are gonna start seeing more stuff with that kind of like, you know, updated world kind of business model and kind of thing. Yeah, I could see League doing well because they have the money. League has the money to do whatever the fuck they want. I think it's dumb to make an MMO like WoW though, or Final Fantasy 14. Like you say, they already have a bunch of development time. But those games are dated. It's a fact. Those games are dated. Those combat systems are dated. You need to be looking to the future, not trying to... And some people are going to like the past, and that's fine. But again, oversaturated. People that like that style of MMO have already got multiple games to pick from. So trying to make a game like them, you're just going to go nowhere, right? It's just, there's no point. So yeah, at this point, one reason why Genshin has done so well is because it's nothing like WoW. It's nothing like WoW. It's like WoW in that, you know, there's exploration and you know, that kind of thing. But, you know, the fundamental way you interface with the game is completely different, right? And it doesn't, you know, yeah, it doesn't, again, Genshin's only been in development for a fraction of the time WoW has. So of course they have way less content, but because the interfacing with the game is so different and unique, that people are fine with that and they're willing to wait, right? You know, when Genshin's, you know, waiting for more stuff to get added and more bosses to be added and things like that, it's fine. So for other games to do that kind of thing, they need to not be like WoW. Like, it really is just like video game suicide to make a game like Final Fantasy XIV or WoW. And I think Final Fantasy XIV worked because one, they had that money, and it was in development for so long. I mean, dude, Final Fantasy XIV was a shit show for so long. When it first came out, it was garbage, and they basically had to remake the game. Most companies could never have afforded the development time and money that it took to make 14 what it is now. Like, most people have never even played 14, like, in its original state, and it was basically a completely different game, and it was complete trash, and they had to scrap it and start over. Most games could never afford to do such a thing. They could not afford that, like, trial and error process. And that's why most MMOs die or never get made. But they could afford that process, and they could have, by the time they actually did release, they did have quite a bit of content. Also, they focused way more on the weeb factor, and so a lot of people play it because they like weeb stuff, right? And so there was definitely like a market for that. But between Final Fantasy XIV and WoW and the few other MMOs that do okay, that market is completely cornered and is also outdated, and I don't think that many people want to play a game like that. I wouldn't mind playing a game similar to them, but I certainly don't really want to play a game like that. Like, again, combat systems are just dated and much grinding. Black Desert's like an MO. It's a multiplayer online. It's not exactly massive. But that's also way more niche. That's way more in like the Eastern market because it's so grindy and pay to win and that kind of thing. It's never gonna see the, like, Black Desert does all right, but again, it's not exactly an MMO, and it's definitely not seeing the kind of success that like Genshin is. I think WoW's original lore was pretty good and interesting. I think Warcraft 1 to 3 was kind of awesome. I think Vanilla WoW's story was awesome. But I think WoW's story is complete trash now and awful, and I think they've ruined everything, and like they're always bastardizing the past stuff, and they're having to make up like, oh, but no, there's this new. Let me give you an example. This is exactly how WoW is now, and I think it's so dumb. Like, they've had to retcon a bunch of stuff to try to keep making new big bad guys feel important. So in Dragon Ball, you had, let me see if I get this right. I'm not super familiar with Dragon Ball stuff. Like, I've obviously, you know, watched it and stuff, but I don't remember all the details. But let's see. They first introduced Kami, right, which means god, right? So you had like the god of Earth, right? So you had Kami, and that was like the big shot, right? Then they introduced King Kai, and it's like, oh, Kami's nothing compared to this King Kai guy. King Kai is the real big superpower in the universe, and everything is now like revolving around that and that kind of idea, right? And then they're like, oh, actually, God, wait, did King Yama come before? No, I guess King Yama was later. I don't remember. It was King Yama and King Kai though. But then you had, there were other Kais, and then they had the Grand Kai. They had Grand Kai, who was like the leader of all the Kais. So now we're all like, oh, even now this guy's like the ruler of the whole universe, right? It's like he's the whole thing, you know. And the Kais are just like the little section of the universe, where the Grand Kai is the boss. And they're like, oh, actually, and the reason they did this was because it wasn't exciting if they used Grand Kai again. It wasn't exciting to add, you can't have Grand Kai show up and just do things again. We want to introduce new characters that are powerful and relevant and have to do with the main story. And they don't want it to be Grand Kai, because we already did that. So now we have Supreme Kai, who is above even the Grand Kai, which is like, why is he the one in charge of the galaxy then? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's already so dumb, right? It's like, and then they're like, oh no, there's many Supreme Kais. Oh no, there's Kais over the Supreme Kai. And then there's a god of destruction. Oh no, now there's angels over the gods of destruction. And then, I'm not even kidding, there's another thing over that, who's like the real universe creator. Just kidding, guys. It wasn't actually Grand Kai, and it wasn't actually Supreme Kai. It wasn't actually the God of Destruction. No. It's just like, what the fuck? It makes so much of their like past lore irrelevant and not even mean anything. And WoW has done the same thing. All these like fundamental parts of the universe end up not mattering at all because, oh, but this other thing. Oh, no, this other thing. No, this other thing. And these other things that keep introducing have no backstory, no background, no backbone to it. And instead of actually starting these things small and building them up and making them big over time and then establishing that backbone, they try to cheaply like, oh no, this guy was actually behind this other thing from from Warcraft 2. Remember that cool thing from Warcraft 2? No, this guy was actually behind it, even though we just wrote him 5 minutes ago and we never, foreshadowed this at all, right? That's all WoW does now, is they slap some new thing that they just pulled out of their ass and they try to like arbitrarily connect it to something from like Warcraft 3 or Warcraft 2 and act like, oh no, this thing was actually the thing, right? It's bullshit. I think their lore is so bad now. It's like, it's just garbage, and like they're always just trying to like focus on what's popular, and it's just bleh. Where I think like Warcraft 3 had all this like interesting stuff with different factions and different motivations, and didn't really have a main character, and sometimes the bad guys won, and all this stuff. And then WoW is just mainstream like schlock. Okay, let's see. What are we? Surely we've killed enough beasts, right? I don't think I've seen the mission though that I was trying to complete that needed me to kill like 40 of them, so I'm not sure I actually did kill enough. How many did I kill before? Okay, I need to kill 2 more. So one more stage here. I wouldn't say Overwatch failed at every aspect. I think Overwatch succeeded at a few things. I think their long-term design was really flawed. So, okay, I've talked about this a few streams ago, but I'll talk about this again because I really liked Overwatch. At least I liked the idea, and it was something I wanted to be really good. So, one area where I think they did succeed was they made very unique characters with lots of different personality types and different designs, and somebody's going to appeal to somebody, right? That's the thing. So it's like, I remember when they were first announcing it, a lot of the characters they were showing off and everything, I was like, I don't really care about that. It's like, they're okay, but it's kind of whatever. Then they introduced Roadhog and Junkrat, and I'm like, oh shit, there we go, right? And to this day, those two are awesome. I love them to death. I love their voice acting, I love their design. They're great, right? So great. And there's a lot of characters like that. Yeah, Pharaoh's pretty cool. Pharaoh grew on me a lot. Pharaoh's cool. But still, Junkrat and Roadhog are the best. But, anyway, and so like a lot of their character designs I think are really great. I like being able to beat up, weebs or whatever with Junkrat. It's great. I love it, right? So in that respect, they did really good. But they failed so, and I don't understand. This is one of those things where with how much money Blizzard has and how many experienced developers they have, I do not understand how what I'm about to explain happened. I don't understand. They made a game. And some people might argue what I'm about to say is not true, but I think it's so bullshit. They clearly set out to make a game that had different characters that would appeal to different people. So somebody was going to like almost anyone in the game and super like them, right? So I might not care about, this or that character, but I got Roadhog and Junkrat and stuff, right? And like, they so clearly did that. They wanted like extreme personality types. They were okay with making, like, you have fighting games that add things that like these wacky, characters that hardly anyone likes, but somebody loves them to death, right? They clearly set out to have some generic characters, some really specialized characters. Like they really wanted that. They wanted that guy to be like, oh, I'm gonna be a Junkrat main. That's my guy. They wanted that. They wanted that. That was such a point behind like the character designs and the marketing and stuff. But then they made a game you can't do that. They made a fucking game that makes it you can't main Junkrat. You can main maybe Mercy, because every team, no one wants to play a healer, but you literally can't main most characters because you constantly have to change what you play based on what your idiot teammates picked. And you have to try to salvage the team. Because they made the game so synergy-based and so team-based to the point that if your team is like, obviously if you're a way better player than the other team, you'll win with a shit team setup. But because the matchmaking is so good, both teams are almost always evenly matched overall skill-wise. And so what make or breaks the winner is literally the team comp. The matchmaking is so good, the team comp wins the game. So if your teammates don't pick good things, and if you don't pick the one hero that at least kind of salvages it, you have no chance of winning. And it's boring. Like, I want to play Junkrat and Roadhog and like Pharah, and I have to always play a fucking tanker healer. I'm like, well, great, right? It's so bad because of that. It is so fucking bad because of that. And then ultimately, and it's just weird because they obviously took inspiration from Team Fortress 2 in a lot of respects, but they ignored a lot of things Team Fortress 2 did to allow you to play whatever character you wanted to play and things like that. They really missed the mark on some things. Now, again, there's still things they did well. The characters feel great. I'll say this, I think Overwatch's characters feel great to play if you're not actually in the context of an Overwatch match, and then you probably want to hit your face with a hammer. But you know, the actual movement and the different abilities and like the way they actually work and like how they, you know, try to damage people or tank and all that, very fun and interesting. Unfortunately, the way the gameplay all comes together, it doesn't matter, and it's just, you know, end me now. And ults are balanced like trash, but yeah, the characters are incredibly fun to play. The map design is pretty good, not the best, but it's pretty good. And the characters are really cool, and there's someone for everybody. But yeah, the game forces you to play characters you don't want to play. The game is almost all about ult management, and it's so team reliant, you'll want to blow your brains out. So yeah, could have been amazing, and I think it's still salvageable. I think it's still totally salvageable. One thing that's going to make it very hard to salvage now, though, is because the roster is so big now. Good luck, right? Like, they didn't have good fundamentals, right? They didn't have good fundamentals, and they added a bunch of characters on top of it. So now good luck trying to create good fundamentals with that many characters. So I don't think it's going to be salvaged, but it could be, right? It's possible. And I'll keep an eye on it if they ever do really fix it up, because I do love Junkrat and Roadhog and everything, and if I could enjoy playing those characters, I'd be all for it. I mean, they've tried to address a lot of the problems in Overwatch, but they really failed at it. And so I've played a lot of, you know, competitive games throughout my life, especially when I was younger. But I actually, some people are gonna hate me for saying this, some people disagree with this so hard, but I think really good matchmaking is bad for a lot of competitive games. Now, it depends on the game, but for a lot of styles of competitive game, especially team-based ones, I actually think really good matchmaking is bad. Because so for example, in Halo 3, that was a game I played a lot when I was younger. In Halo 3, back in that time, they didn't have particularly great matchmaking. You know, they had a degree of it. But generally, both teams were going to have a variety of good players, medium players, and bad players. And you would, so if you were in like big team battle, you were going to feel that. You're like, okay, those guys are like the enemy team's aces, right? And if you were an intermediate player, you kind of knew not to try to, you know, don't be the guy, right? You know how to, you know, where to go on the map, and don't take the sniper from your MVP, and you kind of play around your strengths and stuff. And that's a really fun dynamic. And it also allows people to, when you get, for example, in Halo 3, if you started off and you were shit, you were going to get bodied. And I mean bodied, because like Halo 3 did not have much like skill gap suppression. A lot of games now, they do so much effort into how ultimates work, so you can get kills even if you suck. And they design the maps in ways that even if you kind of suck at the game, you can still do kind of okay. But a lot of like older shooters did not do that. And if you sucked at the game, you got fucked. But in team settings, you could still get some kills, and you know, you could, you know, do some things. But you were definitely going to notice that you weren't as good at the game as other people. But then why that was good was because then when you get better and you put effort into, okay, I should pay attention to the map more. I should try to maybe use, because I'm not good at the game, I should use the guns that are actually easier to use instead of the ones that are necessarily like more precision but stronger. And then you get better, and it's sort of, because when I first started playing Halo 3, I wasn't, or actually I think I started with Halo 2, I don't remember. But anyway, when I first started, I wasn't anything amazing by any means. But then when I would take steps to get better, I would see that improvement. Because as I got better, the matchmaking didn't really change, right? And the average, like the way the teams were roughly the same all the time. So as I got better, I started performing much better, right? And then when you get really good, you're like, you're really impacting the team, and then you're really dealing with the enemy aces, right? The people on the other team that are also really good. Those are the ones you really work out for, and you can kind of just slaughter the other people. So it's like a nice you have like motivation to progress. Where in Overwatch, it doesn't matter. If you get better, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. It only matters if you're... The only people it matters to get good at in Overwatch is if you're so good at the game, you're basically like esports level. Because then you're so good, the matchmaking doesn't have enough good people to match with you, and you are... Like, seriously, when you watch like the pros play Overwatch, they're so much better than everyone other than the other pros that the matchmaking cannot give them a fair match, right? It can't. But other than that, you know, maybe for a while you'll get better, and in your bracket you'll be like dominating and whatnot, but then eventually the matchmaking is going to even it out, and your win rate is, unless you're always getting better, or you're just better than literally everyone, your win rate is always going to be 50%-ish. You know, maybe a bit better, but if it's a bit better than 50%, if the matchmaking is just going to slowly get, you know, harsher and harsher on you, and getting better at the game doesn't even matter. Like, it literally doesn't even matter. It will not affect your performance. It won't affect your win rate very much. It just won't. Aside from maybe dealing with Smurfs, you want to, I guess, be good enough to stop Smurfs. If you like really suck at Overwatch, a lot of people in like bronze are going to be Smurfs, and then you're going to get wrecked. But yeah, now fighting games, I feel like fighting, I mean, even in fighting games, you kind of want some wiggle room with the matchmaking. You don't want it to always be, you know, 50-50. Because again, it incentivizes people to get better. It really does. I think that's something that's definitely hurt Overwatch, though, is just the matchmaking is too good. And so, again, the only thing that matters is the team comp. Like, if you interact with Overwatch enough that the matchmaking kind of gets a beat on you and it kind of figures you out, your win rate is always going to be in the 50-ish win rate. You know, maybe 50 to 60, and you know, generally what's gonna dictate if you move up or down is mostly actually picking the right characters and that kind of thing, and getting good enough at a variety of characters that you basically can always fill what the team needs, and whatever character you pick to make the team better, you also know how to play. That is what will make you like rank up and get better in Overwatch, but that doesn't feel very good, right? That's not what... so many people don't want to play the game that way. And I think that's a huge part of what hurts that game. And then also the way they did ults. Ultimates are so fucking bad in Overwatch. Like, ult management is almost the entire game in Overwatch. I actually thought HOTS was a pretty good... like MOBA game. A lot of MOBA games I don't really like, but I thought HOTS was pretty good because you could actually turn... They didn't snowball so much. You could turn things around if your team didn't panic and freak out, and they was like, okay, let's not... We just did something stupid, that's why we lost that team fight. Let's not do that again. And let's actually do this. And then if it works, you can turn it around. I really like that about HOTS. I actually think HOTS is a much better game than League. I just think it came out way too late and the industry was already saturated. And so it never really picked up. But I actually think HOTS is a way better game than League. It has its own issues, but overall I think HOTS was a much funner game, way less snowball, way more unique, more map variety, all that good stuff. Okay, we finally beat that mission, Jesus. I have no idea what stage I really should be working on to like prep me for... So we need to beat mission 41, let's see if we actually know what that is. We do not. Great. Well, it probably has to do with these newer free quests, so we'll do this one. Yeah, I think it's a real shame that HOTS like stopped getting development and all that, because I really think it was a good game. And it had problems, but I think it was really good. Actually, HOTS had a lot of personal responsibility. It was just in areas that aren't dumb. Like, League doesn't even have that much personal responsibility. It really doesn't. It has more about team communication, and then if you're solo queuing, like, okay, if you're, because I've done many years ago, I haven't played League in an ungodly amount of time, but many years ago, I have done almost, I did a lot of solo queuing, and I did a lot of 5-man stacks and duo queue and stuff. We did a lot of 5-man versus 5-man stuff many years ago. Anyway, when you're solo queuing, it is really not personal responsibility. You know, playing well yourself will help, sure, but a lot, and I said this last time I talked about this, what happens a lot when you solo queue is you get in the game, you get your lane, you spend an incredibly long amount of time last hitting, because that's fun, and then you finally get to the team fight phase, and one of your teammates is a fucking idiot and throws, and now the enemy team snowballs, and even though you're playing better than them, it doesn't matter, and you fucking lose, and that took like 45 minutes, and you spent 25 minutes of that farming creeps getting last hits. That is such a bad experience, and even if you play really well, you will often lose because of something stupid like that. Now, sometimes you can turn it around, and reversals happen, and sometimes you make a good play, and you can make up for stupid shit like that. But a lot of times the enemy team has someone like that too, and it doesn't, and it's fucking dumb, dude. Like League, especially solo queue, is a fucking awful experience because it's not a lot of personal responsibility, right? Obviously, you playing well and you doing well it means that's one less idiot on the team, right? If you guarantee that you know what you're doing and you're playing well, that will lower the odds of someone throwing. But even someone good can throw, right? Everyone acts like it's always someone else, but they just forget the times they throw. Because a lot of times, same with League's matchmaking is really good as well. A lot of times people just make a fucking mistake, and then to you they're the idiot, and you envision them as not making a mistake like that every single game that they're in. But a lot of times they don't, and it was just that time, and that ruined your game. But you probably ruined someone else's game, and you didn't really think about it. Like, I don't think there's more personal responsibility in League at all. I think there's absolutely less because, it's just, because it's so snowbally. League is so snowbally that, if you oftentimes cannot run back a teammate being that fucking bad. Now, there's more personal responsibility in League in terms of getting last hits, but that's not personal responsibility. That's stupid, right? Wow, gotta get that efficient farming in, right? Like, are you kidding me? Like, personal responsibility in a competitive game that matters is like playing your character well and like doing the mind games and like performing well in a team fight. That's what matters, not LOL, I get the last hit good, right? Like, Jesus. Like, literally no one cares about that stuff, right? Like, that's such an arbitrary barrier to entry anyway, that once you figure out is meaningless. The thing is, overwhelmingly what affects, like when you can push a lane and whatnot, is last hitting, and last hitting gets you items, which allows you to do, like, this is why I don't like League, right? Let's say you're top, okay? Let's say you're top in League, and let's say you legitimately mess up, and maybe you didn't notice a gank attempt coming your way, or you got baited, and you got killed by you thought you could get them but you couldn't, and you died to the tower, or you just got ganked or whatever, or the other person just gotcha. So you took a hit, you got, right? It happens, right? It happens in fighting games. You can have an amazing player, he's probably not gonna perfect the other guy. He's probably gonna make a bad read at some point, he's probably gonna misjudge, get smacked once. But the difference is, in a fighting game, you get smacked once, that's just, you take that bit of damage, and that's that. In League, you got the one-time top, and now the other side has more gold than you, and now they have a stat advantage over you. This is such a problem. I say this all the time, but this is such a problem with gamers today. It's not everybody, but there's a lot of gamers today that cannot tell the difference between I'm actually good at this game and I outskilled somebody versus I grinded a whole lot and now the numbers are bigger. They don't know what the difference is. They like, oh yeah, I got better stats in League and so I killed this guy and so I'm better than them at this game. That's, like, if you get got top lane League and you deserve to die and you deserve to have your lane pushed or lose a tower or whatever, that's fine. What you do not deserve is now the next time you engage that guy, he now has an arbitrary stat advantage on you. Imagine in a fighting game, anytime you made one bad read, it now puts you at a disadvantage for every other, like, neutral engagement for the rest of the game. That's stupid. Like, of course that's stupid, right? That's just bad game design, right? And that's what League is, so much of that. Like, it's so much of that. And a big reason why it's like that is because they can't balance it. This is obvious. Like, they literally cannot balance League, and I can't really blame them at this point because their roster is so big. You're never going to balance that game. So they have to balance League with items. They're like, oh, well, if you pick this character and it's a bad matchup for you, then you can at least go pick these items to make it less bad. And then if your teammates like pick up the slack and do this and that, then it's okay. Like, that's not actual balance, right? That they literally use the items as like a buffer for the fact that their hero balance is really bad. And a lot of games do that as well. And you know, even HOTS does that. HOTS does that too, but I think HOTS did it in a way, you know, it's so much less snowbally, and the gold gained is a lot more like guaranteed across the board for both teams, and it matters a lot less. It's more about, yeah, you're going to get items in this phase, in this phase, in this phase, and if there are these characters, then you need to, in this phase, you need to go with those items, right? That's way better, and that's way less snowbally, and it's more about, okay, we got, let's not get got next time, and let's see if we can actually land our skill shots for God's sakes, or maybe, you know, look, they're getting kind of cocky, maybe we can make them overcommit, like, that actually matters in HOTS. And the problem with League is that can matter sometimes, but generally what will happen is you'll get got, and like maybe your whole team dies in a team fight, and they're like, okay, maybe they're going to be overconfident now, and let's try to like bait them or something, and then you do bait them and you lose anyway because their stats are so much higher than yours, and even though you actually played better than them, you lost anyway. Like, it's so shite. And really, a lot of people like League because of that, though. A lot of people like being able to win because they grinded a whole lot and the numbers are bigger. And it's a little different in League because it's not exactly grinding, right? But it's the same mindset. They want to be able to win without actually being better than the other person that they're playing against. That's why do you think PvP is popular in a lot of MOBAs? Where you can objectively get unfair advantages and more team comp options and stuff if you whale. And yet all the fucking whales want to show off in the PvP. And like all the streams and stuff are about the PvP. It's because people like feeling like they're a pro without actually putting in the effort to be the pro. They put in the wallet instead of the time, right? Because if you want to be like really impressive in a fighting game, you gotta put in the goddamn time. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours, especially. So for example, let's say you've already gotten good at a fighting game. You can translate that skill to another fighting game to some degree, right? Like, no, it depends on the game. Some games are less similar to each other than others, and individual characters have their own individual like skill curve. But a lot of the fundamentals can translate, especially if you've kind of got that brain that's good at learning combos, and you kind of, you know, you get it, right? But if let's say you've never really played a fighting game before, or you just don't have that muscle memory, and you're not good at learning combos, so you've got to really grind. So let's say you play a new fighting game, and you want to learn this character, and so you got to play, because you're not naturally good at figuring out combos and getting that stuff down, you gotta grind your ass off to just get good enough to play the character properly. Then you have to play so much to get the experience of, okay, see, when he did that and I went for this, that doesn't really work. Oh, that move is faster than my move. Okay, this guy's got better. You know, you have so much to learn and how to actually play. I mean, it is hundreds, if not thousands of hours to get, if you're a newbie. If you're going from a newbie to someone that's really good at a fighting game, it can take thousands of hours. Thousands of hours. Most people don't got that fucking time. Or patience. And they're not gonna do that, right? Especially when you have so many people out there that have been playing fighting games for years and years, right? But yeah, a lot of people would rather, you know, play the numbers game and try to show off that way than try to, you know, put in the effort to compete. And here's my thing. I get it, and especially as I get older, you know, first off, my reflexes are slower now. You know, as you get older, that you know, that stuff's not as good, and it's harder to learn new things. So as I've gotten older, competitive games are definitely harder for me now, like that, very much so. But I still enjoy them, and I still like to play them from time to time. But if I'm like, you know what, I'm not in the mood for this, you know, especially if like I'm tired, I'm like, you know, I don't, or if a new fighting game comes out, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna have the time to get proficient at this. I don't have the free time for it. Then I don't worry about it, right? I don't try to then get my kicks in like a cheap way somewhere else, right? I'm like, yeah, I'll just do something else then. If I'm not feeling up to snuff to do some like hardcore competitive stuff like StarCraft 2 or a fighting game or what have you, then I just won't. I'll do something else, or I'll read a book or what have you. But if I am in the mood to do something competitive, I want it to be actually competitive. You know, I want to actually, because I don't mind getting into something and sucking at it. And then improving. That's why I was talking about matchmaking. It's kind of annoying when like your win rate never changes because the matchmaking is so good, right? I actually kind of enjoy, you get into a game and you're getting wrecked But you start learning stuff. I remember me and Tusk got into, this was an old game. What was it? I think it was like Tribes Ascend, I think it was. And it was like a pretty high skill gap in that game. Like there was a real high skill ceiling, excuse me, very high skill ceiling. And so when we first got into it, you know, getting wrecked quite a bit. But not too long to start saying, okay, we see why we're getting wrecked, and we see, you know, like how you need to move. And you every once you still, you know, we'd lose more fights than we would win, but you start, you know, winning a 1v1 here and there, and you start really seeing that improvement. That's a really enjoyable experience for me. And then when if you do have the free time, and you are able to put in the lots and lots of hours, and you do get very, very, very good at it, it can be very rewarding. Like fighting games can be so goddamn rewarding when you get really good at them and you fight other people that are really good at them and that kind of thing. But it is a huge time commitment, huge fucking time commitment. And I think it's completely reasonable for someone not to have the time commitment to do that. But then I don't like then going to a mobile game and throwing my wallet at it and trying to feel like I'm superior to... Humans have this thing where they like to feel superior to other people. I guess it's just a thing. But then they don't want to do things that actually make them superior to other people. See, that's the problem. I will say though, it does make me sad because I do enjoy fighting games and things like that. Although, man, it didn't hit me. I never had that day where I realized, oh man, I haven't played a fighting game seriously in many years. But I realized, oh my god, I haven't played a fighting game seriously in just so many years now. Or a first-person shooter. Like, you know, I used to play a few first-person shooters when I was younger, pretty seriously. But I haven't done that in so long now. So yeah, kind of rough. But yeah, so if I figure if I ever try to play one of those seriously again, I would probably have a pretty hard time working my way back up. I don't know, right now, I don't think it's really possible for me to get really, really good at a fighting game again. I understand the fundamentals well enough that I know about, you know, blocking and punishing and hit confirming and all these things. So I'm not going to be a complete scrub. But because I don't have a lot of free time anymore, and because I enjoy a variety of games, and I like, you know, actually doing things with my friends, I don't know if I'll ever get super good at a fighting game ever again. And I don't know, who knows though, you know, 10 years from now, no telling what my life is going to be like. But yeah, it's not just that I don't have as much free time, it's that also when I have free time, I like playing different games too. I love fighting games, but I also like playing, you know, shit like EDF. God, that game co-op is hilarious, by the way. And I like playing, you know, FGO and Arc Knights or, you know, Dark Souls or whatever. You know, I like being able to play different things, and so especially now that I'm older and it's harder to learn things like combos and whatnot. I don't know. Fighting games may just be maybe past the time for that, but we'll see. Who knows? I'll tell you what though, if they make, because my channel's so Fate related, and I do really like Fate. Let's be real here. Like, no joke. I love Fate. If they make a good Fate fighting game, I will play it a chunk, and we'll see how it goes. Now, I don't know how much I would stream it, just because it's gonna be streaming makes things harder. Fighting games are hard enough, and then streaming distracts you and all kinds of stuff. So I don't. We'll see. But my worry is they make a Fate fighting game and it's like Marvel vs. Capcom, and because I hate fighting games like Marvel vs. Capcom. Well, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I should say. I know some of the older ones were different, but Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I hate that style of fighting game. I absolutely hate it. Because it's like, literally your health bar is your 3 characters. You get tagged by 1 combo and that character is probably dead, maybe 2. I hate that. I just never enjoy, like, seriously, I don't know why Marvel vs. Capcom was as popular as it was back in its day. I thought it was such a shit fighting game because there was so little interaction at neutral. So Arc System Works is all over the map though. They make every style of fighting game. They make fighting games that are super casual, and like I hate cross tag. I fucking hate cross tag because they oversimplified it. So a lot of the interesting depth is gone, and the control scheme is designed for people that have never played a fighting game. And so if you have played a fighting game, the control scheme will drive you insane. I hate the control scheme in cross tag because it's so simplified. When I'm used to regular fighting games, I just cannot fucking play it, and I cannot stand it. But then they also make, you know, more normal fighting games like BlazBlue and stuff. Like they are all over the Arc System Works. They make they make casual like control schemes, they make hardcore stuff. So it's almost a crapshoot what kind of fighting game they're gonna make. So let's say Arc System Works made a Fate fighting game. You know, if it was more like Persona Arena, probably wouldn't like it. If it was more like BlazBlue, I would probably like it. If it was like Cross Tag, definitely wouldn't like it. So yeah. What is happening on my team right now? I haven't been paying attention and I'm like dying. Probably should have like used Caster Artoria's stuff and, you know, impede. That would have been good. I'll just say this, there's a reason why you don't have like the highest of highest level of play and like the most popular fighting games. There's a reason why none of the players are really old, because now you can be old and very good at fighting games. That's like a myth that you can't. Like, even though your reaction speed will slow down and those kinds of things, if you get really good and you know how to read people and you know the fundamentals of games and that kind of thing, you can still have good enough reaction speed to be good at the game. You're not going to be like the best of the best, because you're going to have these young whippersnappers that they got all of that too, but then they've got the faster reaction time and those kinds of things. So you'll never be the best, but you can be very good at, you know, first-person shooters and things like that, even if you are old. But you'll never be the best. It's Whisper Snappers actually is the proper title. Those darn kids, I know, right? But I don't. It's fine, you know, like, because it's the same for most competitive things, right? There's a reason you don't see any boxers that are like 60, right? Of course not, right? So, you know, competitive stuff is going to, you know, have a cap on it, on age, right? But you can still enjoy them when you get older. But yeah, I'm quite sure there will be a Fate fighting game at some point. I just hope we get lucky and it's a good one, because that would really suck if it was a bad one. But I'll definitely play it some, and we'll see how it works out. It'd be fun to it would be really fun if we can just, like, you know, have our own little community and play each other and stuff, and that would be a good time. Because then if you suck, you can find other people that suck, and you can try to get better as you go, and that kind of thing. That could be a lot of fun. God, Fate Unlimited Codes is such a mess of a game, dude. Okay, we don't need these guys as much, so we should... Well, we do still need the ghost, though. Not really sure what stage makes sense to work on at this point. Because the ones where you need, like, the class type, those you're probably going to fight in later free quests. But that's probably true for a lot of these. I'll do this one. You still need, like, everything in this one, so that just makes sense. Yeah, it is so easy to 100 to 0 people in Unlimited Codes if you know how to break that game. There are some really fucked up loops in that game that are just, like, wrong. It's funny to me, I know a lot of people in my channel that have been like, wait, Unlimited Codes is a bad fighting game. It's like, yeah, it's really bad. You know, it's fun on a casual level, but there's a reason that game never caught on in the fighting game community. There's a really good reason. I tell you what, if they make a Fate fighting game, please do it after COVID is over, so I can see a goddamn specialist and I can hopefully get the sleep apnea situation under control. I can't even fathom trying to get good at a fighting game right now with the state of my sleep. Oh my god, like, just don't do this to me. Like, don't, Type Moon, no. Do it after. So if they made a Fate fighting game, it's going to be a lot of the obvious picks, but they'll throw in a few oddities. You know, they'll throw in this stuff. They'll obviously do, like, you know, Artoria and Gilgamesh, Emiya. You know, those are in for sure. But you'll get some random things from FGO and whatnot. But you'll get some popular ones, so you'll get, like, Jolter or Scath or something, right? You're going to get some of the big shots like that. But they'll throw in some random ones. They do that on purpose. For a lot of reasons. One, because, for instance, like my friend Tusk, if you only put in the anime waifus, my friend Tusk is not going to play the game. Or if you put in at least a couple of the, you know, oddballs, then you'll get people like that to play. So, like, they may not be super into anime, but their friends are, but then they can still play the game with them, right? It's very smart to make characters like that. Also, you need antagonists in games. I'm pretty sure that's why Darius is in Extella Link, is because they needed some more antagonists, and because his Noble Phantasm really worked for, like, the trash mob enemies and everything. They were like, oh, we're getting a lot of boom for our buck here. I don't think Canis would make it in. I don't think Canis would make it in. She's I hate to say that because I really like Canis, but I think Canis is the exact kind of servant you're, like, definitely not going to see in a Fate fighting game, unless we get really lucky. Unless, like, one of the developers likes Canis, and this is why. So she's in this perfect, like, lukewarm space where she basically just can't win. So if you're trying to make those odd characters like Darius and Stella Link and Gilius, she doesn't fit that bill at all, right? Not in the slightest. But then if you're going for the more popular stuff, she's not. Depends what I'm saying. Someone's talking about Pins in chat now. Canis, they're both ragey. What do you want from me? Canis is not popular enough to be in with like the Scaths, the Musashis, Artoria, Gilgamesh. She's not nearly that popular, so she's not getting in that crowd either, right? So she's like this middle ground, and she's not a staple either. She's not, because some people that aren't like super popular, but are at least a staple of the series, they have a good shot of getting in. But she's none of those. She's not a staple of the series. She's not like wacky or like a huge like, you know, monster niche or like, you know, big bad guy or anything like that. And she's not in the super popular crowd either. So she's like the exact kind of character you're probably never going to see in a game like that, right? The one chance she has is normally when you do have, let's say Arc System Works made it. Now I think I'm kind of skeptical of that happening because I feel like Type Moon and Arc System, I don't think Type Moon likes Arc System Works. I think Arc System Works likes Type Moon. They've actually even said that, but I've seen a lot of evidence that I don't think Type Moon likes them. But maybe they can bury the hatchet, or money talks, and you know, who knows. So it could still happen. It could definitely still happen. Because seriously, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. But let's say Arc System Works made it. Arc System Works always adds in some characters that they like from the series. Like, oh, hey, it'd be cool to add them in. Like, of course they're going to add Artoria and Gilgamesh and stuff like that. Obviously they're going to add those in, but they're going to have probably a few random picks like, oh hey, let's add that one because Bob over there really likes that one, right? So you know, anything can get in, but the odds are much lower when you have to rely on that kind of thing. Oh my god, red hair. That would be that'd be kind of great actually. Mordred would have like a chance of getting in, not an amazing one though, because like, you know, she's not nearly as popular as like Artoria and Nero and stuff like that, but she is definitely popular. Like, she's up there in popularity, not like the top. But she could potentially make it in, but I wouldn't bet on it. Depends on what the theme of the game is though, because like a fate fighting game can take all kinds of forms. It can have its own story, like Unlimited Codes, so it'll focus on a more specific cast. It could just be, you know, more generic gameplay. It could be like a crossover thing, like with, you know, cross tag and stuff like that. So it's depending on what kind of game it is, would kind of, I think, dictate what kind of characters you're going to see getting added. Kojiro would have a pretty good chance of getting in, just because anyone from Fate Stay Night has a decent chance of getting in. I don't think Kojiro has like the best chance of getting in, especially if it was a Fate Stay Night game. Then of course he's getting in. Like, you know, easy. But if it's just a general Fate fighting game and they're pulling from like all the areas of Fate, it's kind of 50-50. I feel, you know, he's kind of popular and he's a staple of the series, but they're not necessarily, if they're not going to necessarily add every single character from Fate Stay Night, there's a lot of other characters that are a lot more popular. However, he has got the whole Weeb Samurai thing going on, and that's really pretty popular. So, you know, I wouldn't be even remotely surprised if he wasn't a Fate fighting game. And I guess it depends on how supported it was, because like that Dragon Ball Z fighting game is supported a lot, and I think they're still adding characters from time to time to it. So if the game did great and it like blew up in popularity, and they were like, you know, continually adding characters, then I think Kojiro would absolutely make it in then. But yeah, I guess it'd be good for us if they made a Fate fighting game. We'd really want it to explode in popularity, because that would allow them to keep adding DLC characters and stuff, and then you might get some of the more, you know, niche picks and stuff that otherwise wouldn't make it in. So that's definitely a chance for anybody at that point. Yeah, Fighters did really well. That game found a nice balance between hardcore and casual, and then like, although it's a team fighter, it's not like Marvel vs. Capcom where your character just gets one shot and, you know, they're gone. It's not like that. So they found a nice balance, I think. Actually, a Fate fighting game wouldn't be any harder to balance than any other fighting game. Ultimately, and this is why you don't take gameplay in a fighting game for like canon, right? Ultimately, your toolkit and lore is just, it's superficial in gameplay. Look at Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Videl can beat the shit out of you know, Super Saiyan Goku, right? It's like it's just about hitboxes and frame data and that kind of stuff, right? So it literally doesn't matter that Gil is like so strong in lore, or Phantom sucks, or actually Phantom doesn't suck in lore. But anyway, that stuff doesn't matter. It's if Gil attacks with Aya, it's not really going to do any more damage than anything else, right? And if it does, it's going to be a high risk type move or whatever, right? So it's all balanced. It's literally not harder to balance a Fate fighting game than any other fighting game ever. It's exactly the same. Like, it's exactly the same, right? Because it's your lore ability is mostly superficial. And if you do have a move that you know the player base wants to be really powerful, like Aya or something, you make it a super move, or again, you make it a high-risk move that's balanced with the rest of their toolkit, right? Like, if they made Gil, you could put all kinds of flaws in his kit that he wouldn't actually have in lore, but you can give him, you know, you can have high recovery, frames on certain moves. You'd probably make him a zoner, yeah, so you'd probably make his short-range options trash. Probably wouldn't have, like... It's funny, because in lore, Gil has all these get-out-of-jail-free cards with, like, being able to summon shields and his automated defense system and like how he, you know, he's got like anti-curses and shit like that. But in gameplay, you just don't give him that, right? You just have it where like, oh, he doesn't have a DP, or, you know, he doesn't have a reversal, or like, you can do shit like that, and oh, LOL, you know, you might be able to make Gil bad, right? So, yeah, it wouldn't be any harder to balance than the other fighting game. Now, I'll say this, fighting games are hard to balance, period. It doesn't matter if it's Dragon Ball Z, Fate, you know, Grand Blue, Persona, it doesn't matter. Fighting games are just a difficult thing to balance under any circumstance, because they are so competitive and it is so, you know, frame data and a lot of objective stuff. So it takes a lot of effort to make them balanced. So, you know, it could easily come out as an unbalanced piece of shit. I really do hope we get a good Fate fighting game. I'm just worried we're gonna get shovelware. I'll just be so disappointed if we get shovelware. Because, like, Dragon Ball Z fans over there get this, like, fighting game that's, you know, it's got some issues, but, you know, it's pretty well received, and it's very active and popular, so you have a wide variety of players and a lot of different characters and stuff. And so if you're a big Dragon Ball Z fan and you like fighting games, you're looking pretty good, right? It's maybe not, you know, the best fighting game mechanically ever, but it's pretty good time. Yeah, we don't really have that for Fate, and I'm worried that if we get that, it's gonna be, like, some piece of shit fighting game. Phone, please. I do need to wrap up soon, though, because, like I said, they're gonna have to nuke my internet later, because they're trying to fix it, because I have this, like, massive issue where my upload speed just randomly tanks. Well, one thing that's really helped developers balance fighting games is actually just getting on board with the community, and online communication is so much better. So fighting games are developed now knowing that players are going to be trying to figure out frame data, and, you know, knowing that this character has this option and that character has that option, and, like, they're not just slapping shit together now, so they actually think about it. And it's so much easier for them to, like, balance things, because they can look at win rates, and sometimes win rates are not reflective of how good a character is, sometimes win rates are reflective of how easy they are to play at an efficient level. That is such a fucking thing. Well, you have a certain X character is actually incredibly good, but the average player, even if they're somewhat serious, is never going to get that good at them, and so the win rate's not going to be very good with that character, right? So there's all kinds of things you have to factor in. But that's where feedback and listening to veterans and not just like the average player matters, and you try to find the right balance on these things. But that kind of stuff has helped developers make better fighting games. Like, I mean, so much so. Yeah, frame data is nice to just see it instead of having to, like, figure it out yourself. Can we have Susanoo and a collab event in FGO? Like, is anyone surprised that I super like Susanoo? And by the way, I like Terumi, Hazuma, and Susanoo. Like, that whole, you know, Terumi triangle is awesome, and they're, like, my favorite characters in that. But, I mean, Susanoo is evil as fuck. He's, like, super ragey, punch, smash, and, you know, always like things like Beowulf and Pent and Canis and Mori, right? And then he's green as fuck! Oh my god, he's so green. And he's, like, pure green, right? He's not like some weird shade. It's, like, it's the best, man. I fucking love that guy. So, yeah, if we could get that in FGO, that would be fantastic. Yeah, it's Hazuma and Terumi, you know, that whole thing, that was a very popular villain. Because he kind of hit that area where some people just like the bad guys anyway, and then some people like bad guys that they love to hate, right? And Hazuma was so in that alley, and then he was a troll, so, you know, lot of check marks there for people. And for me, it's all of that, and he's green, right? You see how this lines up. See, it works out. Bad guy, troll, green. Like, I'll take this. Okay, I think we'll wrap up there, because, yeah, I'm gonna have to deal with the internet stuff soon. I don't know what's gonna happen with my internet, right? It might get so fucked. I might not be able to stream tomorrow. We'll see, because they're gonna have to, like, nuke it. But I don't know what the hell's gonna happen, so we'll just see. Hopefully I can stream tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, definitely no bonus stream tonight, because they're not even starting until like for another hour and a half or so. But I'm gonna have to explain so much crap. Oh boy. Anyway, I will see you all later, hopefully tomorrow, and I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.